Okay. Welcome one and all. Is anybody like actually live with us at this moment?
No, don't
Earlier today
know.
we could do this.
I don't know. Let me look. Shout out to all the early voters out
Yes.
here doing y'all thug thizzle. Can't wait to cast my vote. I feel like we getting revenge. We just had that conversation too. Like, man, this one is personal. It's personal more than anyone I've ever seen. Like this election, it just feels personal. I don't know this guy. There was some clown ass nigga in there talking about has your life. Khalil Kane was saying, we were talking about politics. And, he's telling people to vote. And dude was like, did your life really get that bad this last 4 years? Yes, nigga, it did.
Yes, it really did.
Yes, it did. Matter of fact, it was, Dallas Penn?
Yes, of course.
Yes, it was him with his horrible ass opinions. Yeah.
Dallas is a stereotypical old New York nigga. That's really who he is.
I had to and old New York niggas think that they basically think what 50 Cent be saying.
But I also think that that's a question that could seem like it's coming from a negative place, but might not be.
Nah, he was real condescending, like about it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he did a costume party, 21 Savage. Yeah.
Let me tell you
the
something.
70s theme.
I've just gotten to the point now where I just politely decline invitations and put it out of my head that
people. You gotta pass them over to me so I can decline them.
And put it out of my head that people are really like out there like this. And let me tell you the reason why I'm not out there like this. My nephew plays soccer in Forsyth County. If you guys are unfamiliar with Forsyth County, you remember that infamous episode of Oprah where the people were complaining about Black people moving to their neighborhood in Georgia. And as I said, Oprah, which means this happened in the 90s, not the 60s, in the 90s. That was Forsyth County. Forsyth County is very much, it may not be a sundown town, but it is absolutely still a handle your business and get the fuck out type of area.
Wow.
Right? And then also like it really ain't a whole lot up there. Like there are some shops in one particular area, but like the exit where my nephew plays soccer at, when you get off that exit, when you're at the exit, you really can't see shit on either side.
What?
You know what I'm saying? Like there's nothing there. Like if you go to the right, there's gas stations and a couple fast food spots, and then beyond that little block of stuff, you can't tell what else is over there. And then when you go to the left, where his soccer field is at, you could tell there's a big ass community because the park where he plays, like they have a football field, they have like an actual American football field. They have like 3 or 4 soccer fields. They have like 4 or 5 baseball fields, tennis courts. So it's a big ass park to accommodate obviously some people out that bitch. But it still ain't really for us. So anyway, we're leaving soccer.
I just meant I got a plug for you on that tip.
Okay.
I got a plug.
So we leave soccer and I stop to get gas and I'm inside the gas station and out of nowhere it just clicked in my brain that there were 10 other people in the gas station with me and I was the only one with a mask on.
Yeah. I mean, shit. You can go to Marietta and find that.
Yeah, and I mean, you could go around the corner in my neighborhood and find that as well, in certain parts of the city.
Yeah, but niggas gonna be looking at other niggas crazy. Like eventually somebody gonna check somebody. Oh, what you trying to kill me, my dude? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's the difference.
Not, all of these places have a sign that says mask required and a sign that says enter at your own risk. If you catch COVID, you can't hold us responsible for it.
Well, the WTEs, they don't give a fuck. The WTESs, they don't care. They just, it is what it is for them. And they also don't care about endangering each other.
And that's the reason why I'm still inside. It's because I may trust you. You trust me. We do what we're supposed to do when we go outside, and we still are limited for contact and so on and so forth. But it don't take much for you to come in contact with somebody who isn't. And so
what I will say the numbers, like number wise, Fulton County has done really well. And the infection rates are low. What I'm worried about is the potential spike because of this season. Like I kind of want to see how it's going. Atlanta actually has pretty low numbers right now. So yeah, that's like that's the thing. Like people aren't like dying. There's like been 600 deaths in Atlanta total the whole time. There's only been like Fulton County's traditionally been lower. Gwinnett was higher at one
612
time.
deaths in Fulton County, 30,000
Mm-hmm.
cases. We're still higher than everybody else in the state.
Fulton, well, that's because we got more people.
Yeah, but I mean, you know,
I mean,
but
that's not the rate.
I mean, at the end of the day, like I get it. That's relatively low. It's still hundreds more than the entire state of New York. Well, I mean,
more than the entire state of New York. Oh, I was about to say.
No. Like we're still in the thousands. Like this is the thing. Like even when you look at the United States, like I posted this the other day, that China is averaging somewhere around 50 cases a day. We're still averaging somewhere around like above 40,000 cases a day in the United States.
No, well, I'm just talking about it. I'm just talking. Well, you know, because everywhere is there, and I don't look at Georgia because you know what they doing down in Valdosta and all that. They don't care.
Like, right, but I mean, you know, I'm just my point was though that like once these gatherings go from 10 people that you trust who may or may not have come in contact with other people to 20 people that you know, that 20 is going to be 10
to T.I.'s release party.
Trust, and then 5 that you know might be on some bullshit. So like anybody that RSVPs can show up
to Tip's release party.
The Tips release party, Benny the Butcher's listening party, 21 Savage's birthday party.
Yeah, I don't know what I mean, like I said, Atlanta's open, you know. Even with what I would say is with Atlanta being open, and it's been open for a while, I would think that if people in mass weren't following rules, it would be worse. And that's what I'm just looking at, because Atlanta's been wide open for a while. Now when I say that, just for people at home, there are plenty of places in the city where there are restrictions and there are people following the rules. You know, when I go to restaurants in the city, they're spacing. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not like jamming people in there. All the people that work there are taking precautions. There's hand sanitizer all over the place. You know, certain places are staying open still to, you know, like R. Thomas is not, you know, doing the same type of hours and spots like that. Atlanta's still generally quiet after like 9. You know what I'm saying? Like
like you definitely can't find a whole lot to get into after 10 o'clock on a weekend.
Right. So yeah, it's like things here and there that are open. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot. There's significantly less things going on. Even like we rode around. I was riding around on a Friday night. We couldn't find shit to do, so we ended up at the strip club. You know, because it was one of the few things that was actually open. You know, and still you go in there and they did temperature checks and people had masks on. You know, hand sanitizer all over the place. Like ultimately, people have decided that they still got to live. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just not. Our country hasn't set us up to just sit in the house. It's just it's the sad reality is that we could have been set up to sit in the house until we were, you know, at the point where China is, or in Australia or New Zealand or whatever. But our government didn't give a fuck, you know, so they let us die off and, you know, catch the shit and, you know, let things go how they went. And then individual municipalities, like this is why I got to give Keisha her props. Like she fought for shit. She was fighting Brian Kemp like, nah, fam, I'm not letting these folks die. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the things that happened in Atlanta didn't happen in the rest of Georgia. You know what I'm saying? And that's why the whole time Atlanta has been lower than a lot of these other places in Georgia, you know, infection rate wise, you know, because we had somebody who said, nah, that shit ain't cool. And that should be coming from the top down. And clearly we just didn't have that. So I want to thank everybody checking in. Lily, I see you. My guy Latney. Yeah, so if you notice, they just merged Instagram and Facebook Messenger-ish. Like kind of. So I just sent some invites out to the homies on Facebook. Come on over and watch it too.
They did it for business accounts a while ago to where like your IG DMs will show up as notifications on Facebook. And I hate that shit because I have a former client who somehow has not removed me as an administrator on their artists' pages.
Yeah, my shit. Yeah, our shit be chirping all day. I hate it too.
Yeah.
Chris Wells, what up, bro?
Today's episode is called Africa is Burning. And, you know, because I'm not being invited to these random outings to go to the strip club and I'm still in the house trying to manage being in the house by myself with a dog. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time in a heavy or dark place. But we'd be remiss not to talk about what's been going on in Africa. So, you know, of course, if you pay just even a little bit of attention, and if your timeline is curated to where you know me and Sis, your timeline is probably curated to where you have not been able to miss the conversation that's been going on about SARS in Nigeria over the last about 2 weeks. And SARS is the Special Anti-Robbery Squad that is like a unit of the Nigerian police that for years has been abusing their power. And so they've been arbitrarily just arresting people based on what they look like. Your phone is too nice, your car is too nice, your clothes are too nice, your English is too proper, your weave is too together, whatever. They've been extorting kids, they've been putting them in jail for no reason for extended amounts of time. They've been committing, you know, sexual violence against women, you know, using under the banner of this unit. So they'll pull you over and tell you that, you know, you gotta give somebody a sexual favor for them to let you go home or, you know, whatever. And it finally came to a head, I think, you know, starting last week, and they started with some protests. And what makes it, I think, the reason why it's making so much more noise than any of the other places is that this is the first time that Nigeria has seen protests at this level in decades. Right. Nigeria is probably normally one of the most stable countries in Africa currently. You know, in terms of
which in itself is kind of sad on a bigger level, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, in general, Nigeria's been doing well. And you can even see that, you know, even like that's probably part of the reason why, in terms of the entertainment industry, why Nigerian artists have been able to go a little bit further than some of the others. And then also, you know, because they have a very strong, you know, the reason why we know about it is because there's a ton of Nigerian Americans, a ton of Nigerians in the UK who are, you know, part of our immediate circles, who are making music business, who are, you know, obviously some of your favorite actors, whatever, what have you. So they've been talking about that.
Right. Yeah.
And, you know, it came to a head on Wednesday, I think it was, in Nigeria. No, yeah, on Tuesday, when they literally sent, you know, tanks out into the crowd and started firing on people. So
that's crazy.
There's a website called feminist.co. If you go to their Instagram at feminist.co, they're accepting donations, and those funds are being dispersed to people on the ground in Nigeria, from, you know, hospitals and first aid responders to organizers, what have you. If you felt like, you know, because obviously the easiest way for you to support situations like this is with your pockets. But, you know, I shared a post on social media because a friend of mine who is from the Democratic Republic of Congo posted something. It's always fucked up that we have to say shit like this, but, you know, it's almost what we're saying right here is like, hey guys, while we're over here having this conversation about whether or not to go outside, like, niggas is dying in Nigeria. But also, really, niggas is dying here in America still. And, you know, Breonna Taylor's killers are still free, which means the police is still doing what the fuck they're doing. We're just not having those conversations. And also go vote. But also, it's some wild shit going on in Congo. And Congo has been in the midst of a genocide for, you know, for a few weeks now as well. With over 50,000 people having been displaced from their homes. you know, with people being the victims of rapes and killings and kidnappings and sexual violence. There is genocide going on in Ethiopia. There's been a spike in rape in Liberia. Like the whole, when I say like Africa is burning, I'm talking about like, I posted something, you can go to my at it. We're talking about Liberia, Nigeria, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Namibia, Ivory Coast and Ghana are in the midst of huge child labor and child trafficking problem where kids are being taken from Burkina Faso and Mali and being put to work in Ghana and the Ivory Coast on cocoa farms as slaves. South Africa is in turmoil. Cameroon has been in a civil war for years. Guinea, like, so step outside of yourself, huh?
One of the things is, you know, a lot of these things have been going on for a long time, and
Yes.
you know, Africa is, it's an interesting place because I don't think we, first of all, in the States, we don't really understand the complexities of Africa, the size, the different terrain, the different, you know, regions. Like we kind of like put it all in this one box and be like Africa, yeah, you know. But first of all, Africa went through massive colonialism. And I don't even think that in America we can understand the level of colonialism that Africa went through and how long it lasted for a lot of those countries. You know, right. A lot of those countries, like we talk about slavery, right, and how long ago that was, and then we talk about like, oh well, you know, Jim Crow wasn't that long, bro. A lot of these people were still colonies, like in the 60s and 70s. You know, some of them even later than that. And the destabilization because of the resources and just the, you know, the colonial rule from everybody from the Dutch to the Portuguese to, you know, the English, the French, etc. They just all came through and fucked the continent up. And a lot of those folks are still trying to get, you know, out of that mindset. So it, you know, like when you know, we hear about the genocides in Rwanda, you know, all these different things going on in Nigeria, you know, then you think about all the things going on in Egypt and Libya, and like you can literally just go down the continent, and it's a thing that requires more attention. I think it requires attention on the level of how we look at Europe, right? We don't look at Europe as one thing. You know, we look at Europe as these individualized places like, oh, well, this was France and this was, you know, shit. We even know what Luxembourg is in Switzerland. You know what I'm saying? Switzerland is like the size of like DC. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's really,
or
it's
Monaco.
Really
like everybody knows what Monaco is. Monaco is
literally exactly. Right. And it's kind of sad that we just don't draw more attention to it. So I had a conversation with a brother from Nigeria who lives in the UK a couple days ago, and we were talking about the fact that, you know, folks over there still have to ration their internet. You know, they still listen, like they can't just get on a streaming service and listen to unlimited music because they have to buy like a gigabyte, data. You know, of data. Like they're still buying data. And that's crazy for us to think about.
It's actually the same in Haiti too. Like you gotta have like money to have a phone
plan. Right. And they turn it off. Like, yeah, like after they do something, like they turn their data off so it don't leak. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like at night they're like, oh, let me turn my data off. Like, and that's just,
and it's fascinating because you're talking about places where like everybody has a cell phone, right? But almost everybody's shit is prepaid.
Exactly. So,
you know what I'm saying? You buying your $10 worth of whatever today, and that shit got to be your text, your calls, and your emails. Right. I don't know about phone plans in Africa, but I know like in Haiti, they even have it set up to where like they reward you with extra minutes or extra data. Like if you receive a phone call from the US, when you hang up that call, you'll get an alert that says you've been topped off an extra $2 or whatever because you received the call that was over 1 minute from the US. Like they literally incentivize the users in that way because obviously, you know, the phone company is making money off of that shit. Right. But yeah, you know, it's right there, but it's very, because we get offended at terms like developing country or third world country or whatever, you know, and we're in a space that that political correctness, I think sometimes that's the problem with it, right? Because we're trying to quote unquote level a playing field, but we only level in the playing field in words. So you don't want to be called a third world country or developing country, but there is a clear difference between how shit functions in the United States and how shit functions overseas in a lot of places.
Absolutely.
The other last week, I forget which day, but I opened my door. I think it was last Thursday. I opened my door to go pick up my dog. I had dropped my dog off to go get groomed, right? And I look outside and I'm like, are they doing road work? Like, was niggas gonna tell me that I couldn't get off my block for 3 hours? Like, what the fuck? And I was upset until I remembered that, like, I'm dealing with a problem in Haiti with my house where I can't even call the city to come get them to do what they would need to do because they don't have the resources to do it. They not gonna do it. I could be mad about the street, and I don't know what happened in Atlanta this week, but obviously the niggas caught, hit a lick on some asphalt. Did all the fucking roads. Did you notice that?
Yo, that's because they trying to make it look good. I mean, got to prep it for that gentrification. Nah,
right. So they're working it out. I've noticed from Ashview Heights to Roswell, brand new road.
Well, it's that Gulch Fund, which they're actually using. They're actually using that to help folks who can't afford their property taxes.
And that's the thing that, I don't think that people realize in the States, or not that people don't realize, that people take for granted in the States. We complain about paying taxes. We joke about, the first time you got your paycheck and realized that somebody was going to take some money out that bitch. Or we complain about the amount of money that was dispersed with these stimulus checks. But at the end of the day, like, it was there to give. Whether you got $600, $1,200, $10,000, somebody had that shit somewhere to give.
And you know what? The worst part is the reason why it's not allocated correctly is kind of still on us. Like, ultimately, like we have options and choices for that shit to be even better than it is. But they and then we're talking about places where they don't have those options
at all.
It don't matter how they vote. It don't matter. None of that stuff. It don't matter if they fill out the census. Like, they're not going to get more money. Like, if you got a neighborhood and you fill out the census properly, now you're getting proper funding for your neighborhood because everybody's accounted for. They don't have that option. They could account for 10,000 people, and they still like, bro, we only got enough for 100. This is what we got to deal with. We got to ration it out. So
now, to put it in perspective, democracy is messy. One of the things that people often talk about that have these kinds of conversations is, the United States, when the United States gained its independence from England, kind of had to step up because they broke free from a country that had been a country already for hundreds of years.
Right.
Right? So they had a model. It's like when you leave your mama house and your parents are already a certain kind of way. When you leave their house, you won't function a little bit different than if you were an orphan, or if, your parents didn't have it together, or, like...
Right. Yeah, no, we had a basis.
Like, if your parents lived into your adulthood, your life is a little bit different than if your parents passed away when you were in high school.
Our laws are like, everything we have is still based in, like, English law. Like, all that stuff.
Nigeria
our songs
became a country in 1914 and was declared and recognized a republic in 1963. Hear what I'm saying? Nigeria is a country that is less than 100 years old as a country. And
as a structure,
that came from a lot of, like, the British and the Dutch and the French and whoever else was over there being like, you see this 3-bedroom house you got? Okay, boom. I'm going to give you 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. That's your country. Kitchen going to be a different country. And then the living room is a third country. And if the niggas are hungry, y'all just going to have to figure this shit out.
Right. Yeah, no, it's fast.
It's the same thing with Cameroon, right? Like, Cameroon became independent in 1960. And the ongoing civil war in Cameroon is an ongoing battle between the people in the French-speaking parts of Cameroon and the people in the English-speaking parts of Cameroon, who are not the same tribe.
Right. Obviously, yeah.
So, all that to say, be aware of what's going on beyond your front door.
Oh, that's also in Liberia. You have the niggas that left America, went back and tried to claim some shit, and then the people that was there was like, "Hold up, bro.
Right. What
how
you
you
mean?
gonna
Because
just
you said you could.
how you just gonna
What you
walk
mean?
on
Your
our
country
land?"
said you could come over here and live here.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, just showing up at somebody's door and being like, "Hey, man, what's up?
I'm back.
My mama said I can't stay over there no more, but she said that I could come over here and just live here."
Right. 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 Yeah. No,
Madness.
that's facts,
So,
Chris. Yeah.
we are blessed to be a blessing to others. If you are here, if you are at 10 o'clock in the morning or at any point in time listening to us on this podcast, you're doing so on a computer or on a smartphone, which means that you not only had the money to get said computer and said smartphone, but you paying somebody a regular bill on a regular basis to be able to continue to have
Right.
access. And your
Even if
life has
you're a
value.
month too late,
It's fine. They
it's
ain't cut you
cool.
off yet. That's a blessing as well.
Shout to the payment plan.
Be a blessing to others. If you are blessed, be a blessing to others. And just, I wanted to call this episode what it is because I wanted to trigger somebody to go and do a little bit of research. I don't have all the details. I went and found as much as I could and I shared it. As you find out information, share that with other people also. Because, I listen, I've mentioned before on the show that I listen to like news podcasts in the morning and I listen to everything from BBC to Al Jazeera to CNN to Reuters. And I've heard some of these things mentioned, but definitely not all of them. So
yeah, CNN International is it's a whole different thing than CNN. Al Jazeera, it's funny. Yo, you seen them John Ossoff commercials where they say Al Jazeera is a terrorist organization? I hate conservatives, bro. But yeah, all these outlets are dope. I wake up every morning and I don't want to say it because Google won't start talking, but I tell it to read me the news, and my news is programmed to give me news from all those different sources or whatever. So you gotta step outside, and it's easy. Like even now, like if you have access to like a Fire Stick, or if you got access to the internet, you can get Pluto TV, and they got a bunch of options of news that are alternative. Like Cheddar News. Cheddar News is dope because it's a non-stuffy platform. You know what I'm saying? It's millennial news. You know what I mean? Like, so it's got a little different spin on it. I watch the Young Turks, which is super progressive, but I enjoy their takes. You know what I'm saying, on a lot of stuff, because a lot of it's like super accurate. So we got a lot of options besides the local news and the commentary channels. Like there are actual real, like BBC is amazing. I watch BBC and they have like a whole hour dedicated to like just African news. And they'll tell you everything that's going on the continent too. So tap in and see what's going on in other parts of the world, man, because it's truly a global world. And the more I reach out to and work with people from the continent, you know what I'm saying, I realize like how we can collaborate, because the thing is, man, China is buying all that shit up. I just realized, like, with our distribution platform, the biggest, like their version of Spotify in Africa is called Boomplay, but it's literally owned by the Chinese. You know what I'm saying? So the Chinese are coming in because the Chinese see it like, oh, they don't have shit, so we could dip in here and give them some shit and make some money. You know what I'm saying? And I'm personally not mad at the Chinese for doing that. I just also feel like Akon, like, well, we could do that too. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could help out. So if there's anything that I could do personally to, help people on the continent, then those are the things that I'm going to try to do. And I feel like we all could try to do that. Even if it's a retweet, you just put somebody else onto the information, like that shit is key. So let's keep these conversations going. Let's not forget our brothers and sisters, all around, because they're us. Like, we never know where that shit is going to impact us directly.
It was literally us in June. The whole entire world had our backs in June when we was out in the streets saying this shit ain't right and this shit gotta stop.
Oh yeah, they would. If y'all didn't know, they was protesting worldwide, France, London, England, everywhere. Yeah, Canada. They was out in the streets
all
fighting. So,
all right. Let's get to what this world of music folks had going on this week. Actually, no, before we get to that. So I also wanted to shout out my homeboy, Rodney Carmichael, my former editor at Creative Loafing, who has been covering hip hop for NPR for about 5 years now. He and Sydney Madden, who is also a music journalist who covers hip hop for NPR, just launched a podcast called Louder Than a Riot. And it examines the interconnection between hip hop, the rise of hip hop, and mass incarceration. So it starts out with the first episode is about that, that infamous letter that was circulated about the meeting that happened where a bunch of music executives allegedly got in a room and was like, let's use hip hop to destroy the Black community. They start with that. Oh, you've never heard about that? So there was a rumor for a while, and it floats, it disappears, it pops back up, as a lot of these conspiracy theories do. That there was
like QAnon.
Huh? It's kind of like QAnon. Yeah, it's like rap QAnon. And so they talked to some really good people about it. They talked to Killer Mike about it. They talked to Too Short. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. And Too Short says, I don't know if this meeting happened, but what I do know is, and this is something that I learned from the podcast, in which, what I really love is that you can tell that they really took their time with putting this thing together. Too Short, so I learned a bunch of shit, is why I said that. But Too Short was explaining how when he first started, obviously, like a lot of people, like a lot of indie rap groups back in the day, your shit was being funded by drug money because that's who had the money to loan it to you and the bank wasn't going to do it, right?
Right.
He said that back in the day when he was still making music and selling it out his trunk, and so he was making music on cassette, the A side of his tapes would always be clean, and then the B side would be dirty.
Right.
Eventually, once Death Row came out, and so he says, now you don't see it because it became CDs, so it wasn't like that distinction was harder to make. But he was like, when Death Row came out, Snoop came out, and they were being, very out there in terms of like, they weren't being as censored as some of the music prior to them had been, that his label brought him in and was like, hey, they're kind of outdoing Too Short, and so you should do like an album that's all just like explicit and raunchy and whatever. And Short said, I will do that, but then y'all gotta let me make one album that is the complete opposite. And then for years and years and years, they kept telling him it wasn't the right time. He couldn't really drop that people weren't really checking for it. They don't want to put it out there. So he never got around to dropping that clean album.
Right. So we just got Pussy Tails.
Exactly. What was also interesting was listening to Too Short talk about how, how we've been brainwashed into perpetuating that thug culture, and that, we would have never been bragging about being in the hood and being thugs. I'm like, hello, Too Short, what? Okay, cool.
So, I don't. All right. We had a really interesting discussion yesterday. Well, so just to real quick, somebody was talking about, we were having the Juice conversation. We were talking about all those movies, Juice, Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If those movies came out today, it would, and this is me putting my spin on it. If those movies came out today, what the young lady said was, she said that we would judge them. We'd be like, oh, this is bad, this is negative, it's perpetuating stereotypes, this, that, and the third. But at the time it came out, we knew that was really what it was like. Right. That was what the streets were actually like. That's what the streets in New York were like. That's what Compton was like. That's what, all these places like Fresh and movies like that. Like, and that was
important for somebody who wasn't in one of those cities to be able to see that.
Right, and to understand that that's what we were going through.
Yeah.
But we would be like looking down at it, because look how we're rewriting the crack era, and how we're rewriting the actuality of what happened with the crime bill. Like, we're distancing ourselves from it, like we didn't play a part in it. Mm-hmm. And it's weird to watch us rewrite that history. Because
when you say us, let's be clear, like when you say us, you mean black folks.
I mean black people. Yeah. Absolutely. I remember when C. Dolores Tucker went to Congress and was complaining about Tupac. I remember when NWA came out. Those were black people who was complaining about that shit first. You know what I'm saying? And also, if anybody lived in a major city, you saw the violence that was going on, man. That shit was a war. Like, it was your grandma and your mama that was trying to keep your ass alive. You know what I'm saying? Calling these cops on the drug dealers. It was the black politicians that were going to the white politicians saying, please help us. Because let's be honest. White people didn't care if we was killing each other. They could give two fucks. But
yeah, quickly
we went to them.
You see how quickly they got one of these big pharmaceutical companies to plead guilty to like manslaughter or murder charges for the company that makes OxyContin.
Oxycontin, yeah.
This year, this week, just got charged with. Hold on. Purdue Pharmaceutical was charged with 3 criminal charges, and they pled guilty and agreed to an $8 billion settlement. $8 billion.
But somebody need to actually go to fucking jail. You know why? Because we had to go to jail. You know, like
people got to jail.
Well, no, I'm saying somebody from Purdue needs to go to jail. That's what I'm saying. Like
the people who brought crack into the country, they never really went to jail. Not the people who actually did it.
No, the CIA, they ain't go to jail. Exactly. They chilling. So, you know, and a lot of people watch.
This $8 billion is about as good as it's gonna get.
Yeah, but people need to be held liable. Like, think about it, right? And this is the problem with America, right? Versus, let's say, Germany, right? After Hitler, you had trials, right? They put these people on trial and declared them enemies, and they hunted these motherfuckers down for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
People who were actually responsible, right? So, but America doesn't do that. We just say, oh, you can pay a fine. Like, no matter what kind of damage you cause to actual communities, death, all that shit, nobody's held liable. No one, like actual people. Actual people did this. It wasn't like some machine or some made up algorithm or whatever did it. No, actual people made these decisions that affected people's lives, and they should have to pay for it. But that's one of the reasons why we don't get past anything in America, because there's always that animosity. You know what I'm saying? There's always that I feel wrong, and the black community feels wrong, but we also want to move forward and try to sweep that shit under the rug. But listen, my nigga, I'm 40 years old. I was born in 1980. I saw crack at the height as a child, and it was not even safe for me to be outside. You know what I'm saying? I saw my cousin's head they found his head in one spot and his body in the other. And I'll never forget that shit at Christmas dinner as a child, us having that conversation. You know what I'm saying? As a family. That shit was ugly. And that shit was ugly till probably the early 2000s. That's when they really start cracking down. I know in Philly, they put campers, they put police mobile stations on the worst corners to calm that shit down. You know what I'm saying? So we have to take accountability as black folks for what we did in that. And that's not saying that there aren't other people that were accountable too. But then when you let politicians, especially when you let conservative politicians come in and be like, yo, Joe Biden. No, y'all niggas was going to Joe Biden, dog. Go read the old papers. Like, remember you used to go to the library and you could pull up the old actual newspapers? Like, bro, it's on the internet now. Go read a newspaper in 1994. Go read a newspaper in 1989. Like, go read the shit, my dude. Go see what was really going on. Black mayors all went to Congress and said, please, lock these niggas up because they're animals. No white person had to call us an animal. Niggas called you an animal first. So please, stop.
I mean,
stop with the bullshit. Stop rewriting history, because some of us were actually. But the worst part is, it's people that were there who got this cognitive dissonance. Like they want to remove themselves from it. They want to act like they don't know what it was like. And if you're 21 and you don't know because you weren't there, that's fine. You just got to be educated on that. But it's people like, bro, I know you were there, and whether it was Chicago or Baltimore. Right, you was literally like, oh, your daddy was there, or that's why your daddy wasn't there, or like, come on, bro. Everybody got an opportunity to get it. If you from a major city, everybody try to give you a pack or give you a lookout job or something. Like, y'all know what was going on.
For real.
It wasn't even about the drugs. It was about the violence. It was about the bodies.
Louder Than Right is going to look at like a bunch of different ways in which music has been tied to the prison industrial complex. The current episodes of the 3 episodes that I'm on right now, so episodes 2 through 5 are about the use of lyrics in the trial of Little Mac, who used to be signed to No Limit. And, it was interesting to listen to and it's things that but that you don't ever think about, like how, people love I Shot the Sheriff by Bob Marley, but, Ice-T was vilified when he released Cop Killer. And so there was somebody who, as a test, took like a country song about killing a sheriff and typed out the lyrics, and she distributed it to a test group. And half the people got the piece of paper with the lyrics, and it said, these are the lyrics from a rap song. And half of them got it and it said, these are the lyrics from a country song. And the way that people answered how they felt about the content of the music and, you know, who should be allowed to access it and so on and so forth was different when they thought it was a rap song versus when they knew it was.
Absolutely, because they got a predisposed idea of what rap's supposed to be, and rap has always had this negative connotation. You can go listen to any medium, you can go listen to rock, you can go listen to metal, you can go listen to folk, you can go listen to, especially country.
Right.
Violence, alcohol, beating women, like, you know, all kind of shit that's been in there for
enemies, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so
anyway, y'all go check that out. Shouts to Rodney and to Sydney Madden. It's a really, really well produced podcast. I'm really excited to see hip hop presented in that way. And, you know, like, those are the kind of moments that always bring me back to that Remember Rapping Duke. Like, NPR put some money behind letting people who are true to the hip hop culture and who really understand this music go out there and do this really well researched, really well assembled project. So kudos to everybody involved over there. I just wanted to jump over what none of us wanted to say. Even though I do believe in the power of people to grow and change. But following Diddy's announcement that he was launching his own political party, Aubrey O'Day of Danity Kane jumped out and said, which Puff?
Well,
Puff that been fucking artists over for years, that Puff?
And the Puff that we all know exists.
The Puff that been Puff.
But we give him a pass regardless because he's Puff.
Isn't that interesting? Like, y'all niggas love, like, he is your favorite problematic uncle.
But he's been that way since forever. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I had a friend of the family who used to work for Puff, and he said Puff never paid his bills. Puff would go from one bad deal to the next because he was just worrying about getting that upfront money. Puff was the king of the upfront money. You know, that's why Bad Boy distribution jumped around so much. Because that was Puff getting all them loans and burning through people's money and then moving on to the next thing. Puff is the black Donald Trump.
That's what I was about to say.
Listen, Puff is the black Donald Trump. He could sell his brand and his name, and that's why he could always bounce back. Puff had financial problems, but he always bounced back because he was still Puff. Right. And he knew how to leverage that and go into any room and get a new bag because, hey, I'm Puff. So, you know, when he ran out of music, he got Ciroc. You know, and that Ciroc money helped them get their revolt money. You know what I'm saying? And do all these other things. But the man is smart at that, but he's also a con man and a crook. And we love him still, you know, because he's Puff. That's all I can say. But that's the hypocrisy of niggas because, once again, we give Puff a pass. We know Puff. Listen, everybody know artists Puff. Everybody knows Puff. Screwed their career over. Like, you know, all kind of stuff. We know all the stories. Plus, a lot of people know the other stories. And those stories have become prevalent over the years about Puff and just the inner workings of Bad Boy. I got homies that worked at Daddy's House and, you know, people that were signed to the labels and a lot of crazy shit went on. That's, you know, not so secret really. You know, you can go on the internet and probably type up Puff and Daddy's House and start reading theories but people that was actually
Jack Wright was like, I got a secret about Puffy and Christopher Williams or whoever she said. Everybody looked at her like, girl,
that ain't no secret.
Sis. Somebody literally wrote that book 10 years ago.
Exactly. And here's the thing, like, I'm not judging Puff for what he did, but we got to call it like it is. We can't let Puff step up or Ice Cube and any of these people all of a sudden just decide that they're going to speak for us. You know, when they live in hypocrisy, they swim in hypocrisy. And I'm not saying Ice Cube is, but, you know, I'm just saying in general, like, these niggas they're just regular people out here fucking up just like everybody else.
Correction. They're rich people. And
right. Well,
you know, a lot of people have surmised accurately that the racial divide in America is what it is, but that socioeconomic divide is a much bigger thing.
Absolutely, because you know the goal for anybody who's poor is to get rich or to at least get access to that world. Mm-hmm. We can say that if Puff lost all of his money, had $1 left, he still had access. You know, rich people get a lot of free shit. or people. We say rich. You know, my uncle said Puff's not. He said he's not wealthy. He's rich. You know what I'm saying? And he said that because he said that Puff don't got no liquid assets. You know what I'm saying? Like he don't actually have that type of money. And what I can tell you is my uncle's rich. My uncle's wealthy. Like he's wealthy. You know what I'm saying? And for him to be like this guy don't own none of this stuff. You know, like he's working for people. You got deals up under people and all that kind of stuff. Like if you don't own the building, bro, like it's different. Like if you let's say you got a restaurant and you leave, a lot of these people got restaurants and like you got a restaurant.
Castleberry Hill here in Atlanta. A lot of the, Castleberry Hill had, that was where Slice and 255 and that whole strip used to be a lot of, black owned clubs and restaurants or whatever. But while the business was black owned, the property wasn't. Number one. And number two, in Georgia, zoning laws are decided based on the property owners, and if I'm not mistaken, the residential property owners. So what they ended up doing is that they made it a rule to where they passed a rule to where once certain businesses' leases were up, that they could only have X amount of any particular type of business per certain amount of distance. So you can only have one bar per 300 yards. You can only have one hair shop per whatever. Meaning that you could not have 4 bars on Peter Street.
On one block, right.
Now, 2 Chainz is one of the only black business owners on Peter Street who actually owns his building. He owns Escobar. He owns that building. He also owns the building where he did, he had the Trapavelli store on Peter Street. He owns that building as well. Candy Burris owns the building where Old Lady Gang is. And those were deals that were brokered by a black real estate agent who he and I had a really, really good conversation about the fact that, like, while we've been talking about real estate to black people for years and years and years, and everybody knows that's the side hustle, that's the hustle to get into, when all else fails. It's like entrepreneurship with training wheels is gonna be a real estate agent in Georgia, but like most of us are going into residential and not commercial. And commercial is what the lick is. You know what I'm saying? So like you said, you gotta own the buildings, or else owning the business that's inside the building becomes a lot less significant. Absolutely.
Real quick, we're gonna reset on IG. So Mikey, go ahead and do your thing. Watch out for the refresh, y'all, and just come on back. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Shout to Lily, Soul Lily, the Mad Hatter in the building. It's just interesting, man. Puff has always been an interesting character. And we, you can love somebody, but you gotta, like, I just say, tell the truth. Like, just know who they actually are. Like, we don't have to lie to ourselves about who people are. We could love people and their flaws. We could love people and their complexities. We just live in a society we want to judge people so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we want to do. We want to declare people bad or good. You know what I'm saying? So we lie to ourselves to pretend like they're like good. It's a problem, because then when they really become problematic, we act like we ain't see it coming.
Right.
You know what I mean? God. Like, nah. Like, see me for who I am. See me for who I am. Don't create some, some glossy, filtered version of me. Like, nah, bro, this is me, dog. So if some shit happen, you know what I mean? Like, don't be surprised. And Puff, you know who Puff is. Like, Puff is who he is, man. Sean Combs, man.
Stories have never changed.
Nah, man, listen, that man signed G-Dep to a 13 album deal. He knew what he was never going to get the fuck out of.
Damn, ever. G-Dep signed to a 13 album deal.
A 13 album deal. G-Dep signed to a 13
G-Dep ain't had no damn 13 albums in it, my nigga.
Deal. Puff, you knew. Hold up. Puffy knew that G-Dep did not have 13 albums in him, bro.
Lord.
No. I need to hear from Black Rob. I need to hear from Carl Thomas. I need to hear from all these folks, man.
Carl might have been the only one that walked away, okay? Because Carl's the only one that's always like just away from the fray over there.
I mean, maybe. So I think people like Carl and Mario might have gotten away because they wrote. Well, Mario didn't get away
because he's a Winans.
Well, I was gonna say Mario didn't get away for other reasons, but I'm just talking about from the songwriter tip. You know what I mean? Because he had a pen, he had the ability to write songs. But Mario got a whole lot of other issues that are well known in these streets.
Mm.
And that's shit. That's the streets business. But we got to know who these people are, whether it be Puff, whether it be Hove, or whatever. Yeah, that's what Puffy do. Puffy, raping you records. Like, remember? Come on, dog. We be raping you. The Lox made a whole album about Puffy being a trash dude. It's called "We Are the Streets." Go listen to it.
And a friend of mine who's a journalist, I think we talked about this before, who was saying that, like, when they had that Bad Boy reunion tour when the Lox was back over on Bad Boy, that he thought it was gonna be some tension when the Lox went out and did like all those, like Wild Out and We Free ass records, and then they would all come backstage and everybody's fine. So
yeah, because they've come to terms, and that's how you move on.
But
right?
I think it just popped in my head why we love Puff the way that we love Puff. We love Puff the way that we love Puff because Puff is one of the very, very few examples of one of us playing the dirty game the way they play the dirty game and fucking staying afloat and winning the way that they do.
But he played the dirty game against his own people.
Yeah, that's true.
While laughing and giggling with them.
Huh? But it's
laughing and giggling with them.
It's the same reason why. There was this article that I read before the last election or around the last election. And somebody told me that it wasn't, the guy was giving these people an out, but he was saying how in the mind of the working class white American, Donald Trump is a hero. In the mind of a working class white American, they see Donald Trump as a self-made man. And if you read the Outliers,
let's say in the words of a college
the Outliers, it always talks about the fact that like Americans put a certain premium on the idea of being a self-made person. That's why Jeb Bush ran for office. Jeb Bush ran for office while his brother was in office as president, being the second member of his immediate family that was president, and ran on the platform of being self-made and being a, boots to the ground, pulled himself up by the bootstraps type person. When they look at Trump, because Trump didn't have a traditional career and he didn't work his way up through the ranks, they somehow have more respect for him than they do somebody like a Hillary Clinton. To them, Hillary Clinton represented middle America. It represented the manager that was holding you down, the supervisor that wouldn't let you come up, or the person that came into your office that wouldn't let you do it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, for some reason,
what I would say
against Puff in the same way because they see it as an example that they could achieve that as well.
So what I would say is it's a lot of, when you start talking about Hillary, it's a lot of complexity to that because first of all, let's talk about the fact that she's a woman.
Right.
And don't nobody, like, we just trust old white men to run shit better than we trust anybody else. So ultimately, they were able to shame her as a woman in ways that they couldn't shame Joe Biden.
Absolutely.
And that is ultimately why Hillary Clinton is not our president, because she's a woman. And America is not ready to have a woman lead us. And we just all need to say that shit.
She's a woman who is, if you are a traditional male chauvinist, she's a woman that stands in the face of all of that shit.
Right, and she always has.
Right, that second part of it is also.
Yeah, because she's a threatening woman. Like, she's an educated woman. She's a strong power. Like, she, and Hillary knew it.
Wall busting boss that you could have possibly at your job.
Absolutely, I had one. I had a Hillary Clinton as my boss. Shout out to Katie from Keystone Property Group. I had a Hillary Clinton, and there's a respect level, but with it, like we love the allure Puff, but then
because it seems attainable.
But it's a fraud. It's a facade in many ways, and that's not to say that. But Puff is successful off the facade, like. Puff did what he did musically, and he's one of the greatest producers of all time. But financially, he had a lot of failures. He made a lot of bad decisions, but his brand, like Trump, kept him floating. You know what I'm saying? And that's why Puff, had so many comeback stories. You might not even knew Puff was down. Puff might have had 2 nickels to rub together, and you didn't know it because he was still Puff. You know what I'm saying? But he could always go get another deal. And that's the thing. Like, even in music, you got artists that can always go get another deal. Like, if something goes wrong, they can always get another deal, whether it be their brand or whatever the case may be. They just never going to be that far down. That's cool. But once you step into the political realm, Puff, come on. Come on, bro. And it's way too many folks that are going to come out and be like, y'all don't remember how trash Puff is? Y'all forgot? Like, literally, bro, raping you records.
So this week, the song Sabotage by Beastie Boys, which is an amazing song if you've never heard it, since I realized
Sabotage.
Anyway, the song was used in a Joe Biden ad campaign about the COVID-19 pandemic and, you know,
what?
How it
I
happened.
gotta go find that. That's my joint.
Here's the thing, though. MCA, when he passed, left, you know, in his will explicitly stated that they could not use Beastie Boys music in any advertising. To the point that Beastie Boys have sued Monster Energy and Goldie Box, which Goldie Box, if you're not familiar, Goldie Box is a subscription box and a whole brand that centers around teaching young girls tech and engineering. So like they send, you know, like science projects that are built on, you know, like more physics than like chemistry type projects, right?
Right.
Like actual building things, tinkering things. But they've allowed the ad to be used. And so the question is, like, is that wrong? If MCA specifically said he didn't want it used in an ad, like...
Nah, man, they try to get Trump up the fuck out of here, bro. Listen, when you dead, your estate is gonna do all kind of shit. Look at Prince. Prince you couldn't get a sample cleared. Now all them samples gonna get cleared. Michael Jackson, all them samples gonna get cleared. Like that's the way it is. Like, I mean, it's cool to say that, but it, you know, it's just the way it go. You're not here.
Yo, in 1994, Sabotage was one of the only rock songs that Black people knew. There's some Black people.
I was about to say, you know, that like Nirvana and Pearl Jam was out at that time.
And the Aerosmith records that everybody knew in '93 because Alicia Silverstone was in the videos, crazy and crying.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, that was kind of like the beginning of that MTV era. That's when the regular Black person started discovering rock music.
Mm-hmm.
Because the moment.
That's when everything ran together. That's when they didn't have
right, yeah,
blocks of programming.
Yeah, well, that's when MTV first started playing Black people like rap music, hip hop, like regularly. Mm-hmm. So once that started happening, it's okay. I'm already watching MTV. What's this? Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a rock song. All right, cool. You know what I'm saying? Then Beavis and Butthead at that time. Mm-hmm. Like that was Beavis and Butthead era. Like that was me getting in trouble for watching Beavis and Butthead.
Well, friends, clearly it is time. Clearly the team behind Versus has taken the break that they had intended on taking. And it's time for them to start planning the next one because all of a sudden this week, it's just Versus chatter everywhere. And it started with Busta Rhymes, whose new album is supposed to be dropping. I think if it's not tomorrow, I think it's next week. His new album, Extension Level Event 2. Mm-hmm. And Bus was on the Jopra show. I hate that name so much, and I really want Oprah to come out and like tell Fat Joe to start calling his shit something else. But the Jopra show.
That's a real thing. That's what he calls it.
That's what he calls it, and he's had a lot of Jopra moments because a lot of people have showed up on his platform and said, you know, revealed things that had never been revealed before, like the whole Remy Ma saying that Pun really wanted to do a song with Eminem that happened on Fat Joe's show. Or when Stag Selecta said that he had that one song with Pun and Jadakiss and then ended up dropping it. I mean, not Stag Selecta, Green Lantern. That was very, very racist of me. So Bus came out.
Wait. Who did you say first?
Stag Selecta, but I really was talking about Green Lantern.
Oh man.
I'm sorry. We were just talking about Stag Selecta earlier, though, in my defense. But anyway, so Bus was like, yo, like, I'm calling him out of respect. I want T.I. to step up to this versus platform, and I'm gonna get in your ass.
Mm-hmm.
T.I. responded what? Expeditiously.
Respectfully.
But also with the quickness.
Right. With respect, he was just like, respectfully, I don't really think this is going to work, Buster. Like, it's a difference in age gap. It's, I don't really think this would be a good battle. And a lot of us agree with him.
A lot of us agree that it wasn't necessarily the right matchup. Do you agree that that's actually the real reason why Tip don't want to do it?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be entertaining, honestly. Like, I don't think
entertaining.
No.
How so?
I don't think it's just not like, it's like two different types of artists, two different eras. Like, I don't know, it's a weird matchup. Like, that's a weird matchup. That's probably one of the weirder matchups. Like I didn't ever think that one.
Right.
Like, and I really feel like Buster just wants to battle somebody. Like, he want to be on Versus so bad that he just like, I'll battle whoever. Then somebody's probably like, yeah,
Buster's that person. Buster's one of those people that like, who are you really gonna put him up against?
That may be true, but like, you got to do. First of all, they should have did T.I. and Luda, or somebody like that.
Yeah, Luda's probably not gonna happen. Luda's not gonna do it.
But Luda already did it, so that's
right,
the thing.
He's not gonna battle Tip.
Well, he's not gonna battle him now because it's over. I mean, that's just a mute point to talk about. But like, it needs to be somebody that makes sense.
Well, who said that somebody couldn't go back on if they'd done it before? Because originally when they first did the versus battles, it was Timbaland and Swizz, and then it was wasn't it Just Blaze and one of them?
But they weren't verses yet. Like, verses didn't officially happen until after those first two. The first one was Swizz and no, it was Swizz and Tim when Swizz was having all the problems. He was in the car. He was trying to get his internet to work.
This year with the pandemic and on IG Live.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is those weren't verses. Those weren't like actual verses. Like, verses didn't happen until after. The thing that started verses was Just Blaze versus Timbaland, but that wasn't like the first verses. That was the precursor. So you got like things that happened before it, and now you got, okay, this is versus the branded thing.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I would love to actually see it almost like a bracket style where somebody could come back and battle a different person if they were deemed the quote unquote winner of their battle.
Nah, they just trying to, and they've already figured out their formula.
No,
they want these individual events that become big, and they can put them on stages and they can tell stories, and Monica and Brandy or Gladys, and what I mean, like, they want them to become these individual moments where you celebrate.
I get what you're saying. I still feel like, okay, you have Gladys Knight and Patti LaBelle, and then who showed up?
Dionne Warwick.
Okay, so Dionne showed up, but it was still Patti and Gladys. If you turn around and put Gladys and Dionne in a room, you don't think people are still tuning in? It's still not a big deal?
Again, no. I mean, we've already seen.
I mean, y'all know I'm not the audience for this, so I got to take your word for it because I
mean, people just want to move on to the next thing. So it's like, all right, cool. Nobody want to go back and see the same person again. We're literally thinking like who the good matchups are. So I would like to see a R&B matchup personally. Tip and Jeezy would definitely be better.
You said Tip and Jeezy, but didn't say that that's where the conversation went.
Well, Jeezy's calling Tip out.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So,
you didn't.
Yeah.
So yeah. So when Tip.
But that's what I mean. It'd be better if it was like somebody from like the same era. And weight class.
T.I. came in and said, I salute and respect Busta a lot. I just think the generational gap might be a little too much. And then Jeezy released a video, and I didn't watch the whole thing because to me it just seemed like there was a whole lot of venom and heat in the challenge that really was unwarranted. So I was just like, oh, all right, cool. But that looks like it's probably going to be the next one that we get.
Was he just trying to be dramatic? I mean, that's the one we deserve. I think ultimately Jeezy and Tip is the best battle. We want the Battle of Atlanta. We don't want Busta Rhymes and Tip. We want the Battle of Atlanta. That's what people want. They want the trap battle. You know what I'm saying? They want Shorty Red versus Toomp. That's the battle that everybody deserves.
Well, you guys, it looks like that's what they're working on for you guys. And I'm wondering now if somebody gassed up Busta to say Tip's name so Tip could come in and decline.
Absolutely. I mean, you already know. So like I said, Busta's done said that same thing about everybody. You know, Busta, battle 50. Y'all battle. Y'all New York niggas have a battle.
You think that would be it?
If
we're talking generational gaps, though, isn't the generational gap in terms of their music, not in terms of actual age, but in terms of like when they came out and they were releasing music, is the generational gap?
Then you're not gonna find nobody to battle Busta.
Not the same as it is between.
You're not gonna find anybody to battle Busta then, because Busta's been out since 90. You know what I'm saying? So like trying to find somebody that's been out since 90 that's still been out. Busta been out longer than Snoop. You know what I'm saying? And Snoop been out forever. So trying to find somebody to battle him with the type of hits that he has is
so there's no Busta Rhymes. There's no possibility of a Busta Rhymes versus. We're just gonna get a Busta Rhymes fireside chat with some music.
I mean, I think
I would be there for that. By the way.
So, you know, Mikey said Busta and Redman. I don't think Redman have the hits. He's got records, but Busta's got.
It's not the same at all.
And I don't want to disrespect Redman. He's one of my favorite rappers of all time.
Way back before the Snoop and DMX battle, when I said that, like I tweeted something about that. I was like, yo, like y'all, like why are we not talking about Busta Rhymes with these verses?
Because it's a hard matchup. It's really like, who are you going to battle? And it has to be a New Yorker, I think. It has to be somebody from that same era. I feel like it would be somebody in that Redman-ish era, but it's tough because, you know, I'd say Busta's real run was probably when
Busta's real run was after Extinction Level Event. It was from his second to his third album. It was from
but he's gonna play. I'm talking about just because he could play scenario. You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking about like when he was culturally relevant, not like when he started making mega records. Because some of the records he gonna play ain't gonna be like, you know, him and Mariah Carey, but he can play scenario and everybody gonna go crazy. You know, he could play like some of his older songs, you know, but like what was Woo-Ha, like 98 or something like that? Like
95, 96, because I bought that album year.
Yeah,
I bought that album by accident. I bought that album because somebody was listening to Mystical. And I asked them who it was, and for whatever reason, they told me
that year.
Rhymes. Yeah, they were listening to the album before.
That was when he's in the Southern Boot Camp clique.
Yeah, it was in Florida. So you know, we was on that shit. And they told me it was Busta Rhymes, and so I ran to the store and I bought Busta's first album, and I was highly disappointed because the song I was looking for wasn't on there.
So yeah,
what was on there was "Who Got You All in Check," and I make sure everything remains raw.
Oh yeah, that was a whole vibe.
So 5 years left. So that was 95 because there was only 5 years left.
There's only 5 years left. Yeah. So, it's tough. I think Busta versus Nas would be good actually.
That was back when I said it. I said, how has Busta Rhymes' catalog not come up in versus conversations? And people said LL. They said Redman.
Ooh, LL.
They said
LL.
Somebody said Nori.
What? Shut up. Stop.
Somebody said Q-Tip. Somebody said Cam.
Okay, so Q-Tip, Cam, Nas, those are all options.
LL?
No. LL's got no.
This is the conversation I was having before the Luda and Nelly battle.
LL's another person.
And
it's like you got should
have been Busta and Luda.
You got to put LL versus Hove. Like, yeah.
Another battle we'll never see.
They gotta have the battle of the who's the GOAT.
Who's the GOAT? As the kids say, Rakim would like a word.
Busta and Jigga is Rakim.
You said Busta and Jay-Z or LL and
Yeah.
Jay-Z?
No, somebody asked how far-fetched Busta and Jay-Z is. I mean, it's not far-fetched. They're only playing 20 records, but, Busta is, that's the thing. Busta
Y'all
has
forget how,
those
yeah.
levels. Yeah, LL versus Hove. Well, see, the reason why is because LL is one of the most well-rounded and iconic rappers ever. And his catalog is so extensive and laced with hits. The only other rapper in New York that really rivals him is Jay-Z. There's nobody else who's achieved that level of success. Though they're the top two rappers from New York ever. LL claim to the GOAT is very much a valid claim. I mean, the man had his own leather jacket and sneaker. He was the first rapper with a real endorsement deal with them troops. He had drug dealers trying to look like him. You know what I'm saying? His songs were massive. I Need Love, like, come on, bro.
Listen, I knew I Need Love before I knew how to speak.
Exactly.
LL might have been one of the first rappers I was aware of.
No, listen, as a kid, he was definitely one of the first rappers, but their style's not actually different. I literally
remember listening to LL Cool J and my cousins. I have two cousins who are 4 and 6 years older than me, like they're brothers. And
right.
I remember LL Cool J posters in their bedroom when I was like 7.
Here's the thing. Keisha said that their styles are different, but I believe that there's a whole record for every LL record.
Hi, Keisha. Even that generational gap thing.
No. But listen. If you play some of LL's early records, you can play a Jay-Z record that has a similar vibe.
That's true.
LL has New York street records. Jay-Z has New York street records. They have records for women. They have party records. They have they have battle records.
But it comes back to, I think there was another time we had a Jay-Z versus conversation and we said that we would have to limit Hove to a certain period of his career.
But if you got LL, you don't. That's the thing. If you're going against somebody who's got that much of a time period as well, then you don't. You just let them play their top records.
But do you still, include records that Jay-Z made after LL stopped really releasing music?
Absolutely, because we talking about the sound, right? Jay-Z has a classic sound. And that's the thing, like this is also why it's a great one. Jay-Z and LL both don't live in a box. They're like the like, and the only other person who would have been like that is Big if he didn't die. You know what I'm saying? They literally just could do anything. They could morph in, like LL had so many different styles and flows and all that stuff. And Jay-Z's the same way. It's just they're very comparable in that way. And yes, it was this guy started in the 80s, this guy came in the 90s, but there's nobody in LL's time range who could stay with him. You know what I'm saying? I Shot You came out in the 90s. And that sounded like any other New York street record at the time, Mobb Deep or anything. So you play that with something off Reasonable Doubt, and it's literally on par. But even if you play a love record, like if you play one of his older, like I Need Love, you got Jay-Z records that have that same sentiment. You know what I'm saying? That kind of have that same vibe.
Or so you'll understand.
Exactly.
No, I totally agree with that. I'm just saying, like, are you playing like 444 Jay-Z or the Carters Jay-Z?
You can't. I mean, listen, 444 is a hip hop album. That album doesn't have a date on the music. You know what I'm saying? The album is and that's the thing about, that's why I said you can play a 444, because 444 could have came out in 2003. 444 could have came out in 93. You know what I'm saying? And the only thing is Jay-Z's evolved, his story's evolved. But, you pick a record off of there, and LL has up-tempo joints like that. Like, are you going to, LL play Scenario? Or, Phenomenon, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever. Like, it's a hit record. You know what I'm saying? It's up-tempo. So I think they would be interesting. I think the hardest thing would be picking 20 records for those guys.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? Just because, but nobody else, man, could really romp with them.
Anyway, I really feel like y'all are about to get a T.I. Jeezy battle, which is great. But which also means we'll never get that T.I. 50 Cent battle.
I don't really, that's fun. I just want to hear them debate and talk shit.
Who?
they don't got a battle. They can just They can just talk shit. Like, especially I want to hear them talk politics right now. After 50 said that dumb shit, I want to hear them talk politics. Yeah. Also, shout out to Chelsea Handler for
jumping into the chat.
For offering to pay 50's taxes so he don't got to vote for Trump.
And shout out to the person that was like how they talked about the taxes going up for people who make over $400,000 and niggas that don't make $35,000 a year are sitting there real like big mad about it. By the time I'm not going to say you'll never be in this tax bracket, friend, because I believe in you. But by the time you're in this tax bracket, it'll be a whole different conversation.
Absolutely.
So you're fine. You're perfectly fine. You don't have to worry about it at all. All right. So look, I wanna put something up, an idea up to you real quick. We are coming up on our time. We've said that we wanted to try to keep our episodes to a certain length. And we're coming up on that time, and we've had a really, really great conversation about music and about music-related things, but we haven't actually talked about actual records. So I would like to propose for us to see what happens if we separate those two things. Like if we have our regular episode and then we have a 30-minute in our speakers quick chat about new music that's come out for the week and see how that does on the platforms. What you think?
Well, I wasn't prepared. I was not prepared to discuss this topic right at this time.
I know, that's why it's an audible. Okay, what do y'all think that are live chatting with us currently?
So I don't.
Because we just didn't want to make a really, really long episode.
Yeah, because I know, I know it's not that much going on. It's not a lot of music, but
So what do you want to do? You want to just keep going?
I mean, is there anything interesting? Yeah, I'm here for it. Let's go. Let's keep going.
Okay. So real quick before we finish that with our regular part of our conversation, we talked about tipping them. Okay, cool. So just what we were saying, maybe having a baby softened Onika a little bit after news that she was about to maybe do a collab with Cardi. The new news that came out this week is that, I'm trying to catch it before, okay, bet it's already muted. That Nicki Minaj says the reason that she hasn't collaborated with Kendrick Lamar is that Kendrick doesn't want to get washed. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, I don't really have nothing to say to that.
Do you think that Nicki is washing Kendrick on a verse?
With that shit she be talking lately? No. I mean, and listen,
Okay, with Safari watching Kendrick on a verse.
No. Let's be absolutely clear. I'm a Nicki Minaj, the rapper fan. Before Safari, she can rap. The stuff that Safari made for her or that she worked on with him, was to make music that was enjoyable and palatable for an audience. But I remember Nicki way before that, absolutely destroying freestyles and, on the Come Up DVD and all that stuff. Is she going to watch Kendrick? It might happen. I mean,
is she washing or?
Nicki Minaj is the female Nas for me, meaning she's somebody who I respect tremendously, but her career trajectory has disappointed me because I know her actual talent level. Could she? She can. Absolutely, she can. Will she? I doubt it. And that's two different things.
The better question is, when she said he doesn't want to get washed, implying that the reason why the collaboration hasn't happened is because Kendrick thinks that she's better than him.
I mean, it might it
feel
might
like
be
Kendrick is scared to get on a record with Nicki Minaj?
I feel like it's a joke that it's like an inside joke, and she just shared it with us.
Okay.
That's what I feel like. I don't feel like it was. I feel like it was tongue in cheek. You know what I'm saying?
They made that a headline when it wasn't really.
Absolutely. Somebody wants to just, they want to get us talking and because it sounds like some shit a New Yorker would say, and when they talking shit.
So I just wanted to just drop this little piece of news over here that there's a new season of Euphoria happening. That Drake is an executive producer of the show, which I didn't realize. There are 2 specials coming up that are going to continue where season 1 left off. And so Drake and Zendaya both promoted that on their Instagrams this week. The first one is dropping on December 6th. And people are really, really excited about it. Did you know Drake was involved?
Yes, I did.
I don't know how I missed that. Give Drake props for that. Like I hope that makes me wonder now, like how deeply involved he was with the soundtrack, because that soundtrack was amazing.
Well, if it's anything like Top Boy, I'm pretty sure he was heavily involved.
That's crazy. How did I not know this?
Yeah, it was a big thing when HBO first announced it.
That's so wild. Okay, well, I didn't know. We're getting a special episode on December 6th.
Warrior.
Obviously, I'm sure Euphoria was a show that was affected by, COVID. So, who knows when we'll get a full season after those 2 specials. But December 6th, mark your calendars. And possibly be prepared to have HBO Max to get that. I don't think that they would do it that way, though.
Shout out to Cody.
She did tag HBO Max before HBO. You said shout out to Kobe?
Cody.
Oh, Cody. Okay. People with appointments at the immigration office try not to have conversations about illegally acquiring intellectual property.
Well, you don't have to have it. I'll just have it. I said it. It was me. I put my hand up. Like when you get it, like when the NBA player files somebody, they'd be like, I did it.
Soccer players too. Like file the shit out of you and then be like, what? My bad. That was me. Meanwhile, God's Plan has officially become the #1 most streamed song in Apple Music history.
Out there, my brother Cardo Got Wings. That shit is diamond, boy.
Diamond. It has.
Shout out to Boy Wonder.
Let's see. It has racked up 1.2 billion views on YouTube. That video was pretty special. It is the #1 most streamed on Apple Music, though I don't see an actual number.
Y'all still love to hate Aubrey Graham, bro.
And number 2 was Sicko Mode. You know what experiment I did yesterday with my nephew? So my nephew's 14. My nephew obviously knows who Drake is. My nephew obviously has a bunch of Drake songs that are songs that he loves, including these 2. And the new one. My nephew's the only person in my immediate family that I can walk up to and just be like, baby, and he knows what I'm talking about because my sister. And so I asked Donovan, I was like, what's the oldest Drake record that you remember, like you hearing on your own when you started to become aware of music? And for a 14-year-old, it was something off of If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. I forget which song it was.
Yes. Listen, that is the most underrated Drake album ever.
It was 10 bands. That's the oldest. So now, once he said that, then I went back and I started playing things for him. He had never heard we didn't play Trophies. He had never heard Over. He had never heard
well, Over was 2010, so
yeah, but I mean, like his dad was a DJ, like he's
right.
in the car. I had to show him that like really the oldest that he knows is Unstoppable and Uptown, because I play those all the time. But I don't know that he had realized in his head that but I thought it was really interesting because and also while you said that, and that's the reason why I brought it up, like you said, niggas love to hate on Aubrey, but think about the fact that a 14-year-old could absolutely recognize that Drake is a megastar and have zero awareness of the first half of his catalog.
Yeah, we had this whole conversation the other day about Drake's catalog. It's funny because people don't realize how long Drake's been out here in these streets. Drake's been running around America. We remember Drake from MySpace. You know, we're talking 2006, 2007, when he put out Successful with Trey Songz. He put out his first mixtape. And then Over was the moment where people were like, oh, this shit is really going to be big.
Mm-hmm.
Like this guy. I remember when Over came out, I was like, this can't work. That shit can't work. Why are we in the club singing this song? This shit should not work, but it works.
Yeah,
and it was like, yo,
I'm doing me.
That's when I realized that Drake was going to be the biggest thing out. Like, I remember clearly being in the club in Philly, the DJ dropping Over, and I'm looking like, this rhyme pattern, this everything about this song, this shit is too musical, it's too big, like it's too like of a, you know what I mean? Like, and then I thought about it, I was like, nah, this is gonna work. So yeah, Drake's got a whole bunch. Here's the question, because we said that Drake is the best rapper of all time who doesn't have a classic album.
You don't think so? Drake doesn't have not even So Far Gone. Would we count as a classic?
So Far Gone had too many tracks on there.
The re-released version was much shorter.
Yes, a chopped down version of So Far Gone
so
would have been a classic.
The official version of So Far Gone that they released in stores in 2009.
Yeah, we don't play all those songs. Nobody plays all those songs. Personally, I think Nothing Was the Same is that album where we play all of those songs. That's the one that gets that, like, those songs are much more popular. And that's the one where you can, like, oh yeah, this is my joint. I started from the bottom, and you know, all those joints. Like that record, and then I think it's only 14 tracks. So
wait a minute. Yeah. I just realized that the So Far Gone EP that was released in 2009 was trash. It was only 7 songs, and a lot of amazing stuff wasn't on there.
Nah, because most of his best stuff was on mixtapes.
Right. And so that was the issue, I guess, was that they were.
Yeah, he had all the Heartbreak Drakes and all that. Like, yeah, he was dropping the Heartbreak Drake series and a bunch of different joints. Like, yeah, Drake just puts out good music, and he's got a lot of really, really good bodies of work. But it's like he put out that playlist, right? And this guy's got amazing shit, but dog, it's like every joint on there, is just not it. But the ones that are it are incredible. So I don't know. I'm not saying that he don't have a classic album. I'm just saying that in my opinion, I don't know. Like, my favorite Drake album is If You're Reading This, and then Nothing Was the Same. Those are my top two Drake albums. But there are songs that I like better than every song on those two albums on other Drake albums.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting. So he's almost like the next level up of OT Genasis, where like he's really good for giving us these amazing long songs with longevity, right? Like Drake's got songs that you could play forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, but the albums aren't necessarily as memorable. Because I just went and looked at Nothing Was the Same. It's like maybe 4 songs on there. It's 4 songs on there that I play, and I played the fuck out them 4 songs. But I don't know the last time that I sat there and listened to the whole album.
I probably play, I'd say about 8 songs on there. Well, Nothing Was the Same for sure.
All right, the last topic that I had that was like regular conversation for us for today was that Metro Boomin has called for an end to the deluxe album trend. He said that deluxe shit burnt out.
Yes, we agree.
So what they did, what 21 Savage and Metro Boomin did, is rather than to put out a deluxe version of Savage Mode 2, they took it back. They dropped a chopped, not slopped version of the project. I don't remember the last time somebody dropped an official chopped remix of something. I want to say Beyonce did it at one point, but I'm not sure that that's really a thing that happened. I don't remember the last time I saw somebody drop an official chopped version of a new project.
Nah, but that's a cool idea. Especially if you want to get a lot of, and you're gonna get a lot of people in Texas. People forget how many niggas live in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna galvanize Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Austin. Like the whole state of Texas is gonna go up for that joint. But the rest of the South that really fuck with that vibe is also gonna go up. And then now, it's cool to be on the Southern vibe for a lot of the Northern kids too. So, yeah, I'm here for it. But I do believe like the deluxe shit is just everybody's just dropping the deluxe just to drop it. And from a label perspective, it don't really help you because they don't count it as a new album, so you're not getting credit for it. You know what I'm saying? If anything, it's probably hurting you in some ways if it's not like a hot joint. But people saw Uzi do it and they saw how successful he was. But he dropped 2 albums and just called the other one a deluxe, and that was that was what it was. So it worked for him. But
so,
people
do you
just
feel like
keep copying.
the deluxe trend is overdone?
Absolutely. I feel like people who should not be dropping deluxes are dropping deluxes just because.
I've been perplexed by the proximity with which deluxes are released sometimes. Like, what's the point? Like, this should just be out.
Well, sometimes it's planned out. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have a deluxe or you have a special edition of your album. Sometimes you have
And
like
I get
remixes.
those. Like back when it was the deluxe version is a Target exclusive or it's an Apple exclusive or whatever.
Right. But it's even like Dua Lipa, like when she had the dance remixes, you know what I'm saying? Or the Madonna version of her album. Like, when you have a reason to drop a deluxe, that's fine. When you just added like an extra 2 songs or some shit, nah, bro.
Or
Just
20.
keep that. I mean, like I said, Uzi dropped a whole nother deluxe album.
And that's what I'm saying. But Uzi dropped a completely separate album.
But it's called a deluxe. It's a deluxe version.
But it wasn't like those new 20 plus the original 20. It was
right. No, absolutely. Yes. But that's why everybody else is doing it, and it just needs to stop. I'm not opposed to deluxe albums, but I'm opposed to it being a trend.
Okay, so for those of you who are watching us do this currently, don't go anywhere. We're not doing anything. For those of you listening, we're trying a new thing because we're trying to keep the length of these episodes down a little bit. So we do have a few new joints that dropped this week and some joints that are coming out, albums. So new songs that dropped this week, new albums that are coming up in the next couple of weeks that we want to talk to you about. So go back to your favorite podcasting platform where you're listening to us, and you will find the deluxe edition of episode 42, which is our discussion of music today. This is the Chopping Block Podcast. Make sure you're following us at Chop Block Pod on Instagram, at the Chop Block Pod on Twitter and Twitch. thechopblockpod.com is the website. And
make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can get paid.
We need you. We need you. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Watch it and then watch it again on mute or something.
Did he say slowed and verbed? Yeah, I hate y'all. Stop.
Slowed and verbed.
We're not gonna do these. We're not gonna do these mayonnaise versions of chopped and screwed.
Somebody tricked us with one of those earlier, remember?
I was like, wait, what is this? Oh no, I'm saying it, bro.
All right. Mikey, this is your new intro in 2. Hey, what's up, you guys? This is your favorite Haitian, Ty St. Boogie. I just realized we never introduced ourselves in episode 42. But shit, we're 42 episodes in. Y'all know who the fuck we are.
Yeah. Y'all saw it.
You are anyway. So what?
I said they see it. You see it. Nah, it's your boy
Tell
Scissor.
who you are anyway.
It's your boy Scissor 215. You already know Philly's in the building. Philly's in the name. Philly is on my back. Y'all know what it is. Shout out to everybody. And if you're looking at me, I just want to make sure that y'all see what this motherfucking hat say. Made you look. Black Lives Matter. Bitch.
So this week we are trying a little something fresh, a little something new, because we want to give y'all, we don't want to monopolize 2.5 hours of your time at once. And so if you haven't checked out episode 42, we had a really, really good discussion about what's going on in Africa right now. We talked about Puff Daddy and the enigma that is Puff Daddy. We talked about this pending versus battle that we look like we may be getting between T.I. and Jeezy. and we talked about how y'all gonna put some respect on Aubrey's name at some point.
At some point.
At some point, you just gonna have to.
I mean, because he's the greatest rapper of this generation for sure.
Of his generation, and he said it on Paris Morton joint. Like they saw little bro in me. Like I shouldn't talk how I talk and say that I'm the greatest of my generation. It was like, well, yeah. I love to have Wayne GOAT talks. I kind of feel like Drake maybe passed Wayne. Conversation for a different day. So now this is our new fresh segment that doesn't have a name. In your speakers?
Yeah, let's figure that out later. Huh? Let's figure that one out on the go.
We'll figure that one out on the go. But we are just going to kind of run through some of the new music that is dropping this week. And we're going to start with the singles. Let's get the ugly shit out the way. Kanye West, Kanye Omari West. Why do you put him on the way that you do? So, Kanye delivered an award-winning gospel album last year.
Did he?
He did. It's won awards.
Oh, okay.
Cool. It actually has won awards. I think it won like a Billboard award for best gospel or something. It's won a couple of gospel awards.
Okay, cool.
And this year he's on this weird ass presidential run where like he's listed as a presidential candidate in some states, and he's listed.
That nigga ain't on no presidential run. We can't call that a run.
Vice presidential candidate on some others. I don't know what party he's supposed to be running under. Well, Yeezy dropped the song. Yeezy teased the song with like a Young Thug feature or something like that earlier this week that people were excited about. And then he just dropped the song called Nah Nah Nah, and that's exactly how we feel about the song.
Nah.
Nah.
You could have kept. Listen, nah. Listen, you could have gave that shit. You could have. The person who wrote it for you could have kept it.
You said the person who wrote it for him. So you were trying to figure. You listened to the song a little bit longer than I thought we would have because you were trying to figure out who wrote it. Who do you think wrote it?
So it sounds like Travis.
Okay.
But I could also hear Saha helping on that. Because he might have somebody write it, but he might also invoke the style. Like, Kanye's like Shang Tsung. This nigga got people's souls, like literally, and he just take their souls. Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat.
Thank you. Okay.
So he like
sure.
So like.
It felt like something I actually knew, but I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, when he comes in, when you come into the Ye camp, he takes a bit of your soul, and then he gives it out on.
Oh no! Did you freeze? Oh, that was so good. Y'all, sis froze. We're waiting for sis. Or is sis still here? Am I frozen?
Yeah, I'm just over him.
Okay. Well, yeah. That wasn't it. We said we're getting out the ugly. So, we were talking about Puff, we were talking about people who we have certain well, no, not Puff. When you were talking about Nicki, you said that Nicki has that career where she's talented and just her trajectory hasn't delivered. Dej Loaf got a new song out called No Ceiling.
And she is not that. Dej Loaf is just she never peaked.
You said she never peaked, but do you feel like there was promise there, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like we thought Dej Loaf was going to be the female future at one point.
So Dej just announced the release of her new project, Cell Soul 2. Which is due out. Hold on, I'm trying to see where, because for some reason the inverted pyramid is no longer a thing that people do. It's actually dropping tomorrow. 16 tracks. A lot of features on here. Black, Lil Uzi Vert, Benny the Butcher, Conway, and Boldy James on one track. Rick Ross, 42 Doug, Sada Baby, Gunna, Big Sean.
She called in all her favors.
Yeah, and I mean, and a lot of those are on like it's like multiple features on one song. So out of the 16 tracks, it's really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with features on them. And today we got the one called No Ceiling featuring Gunna.
She could have it back.
I felt like she was almost getting there by the time she got to the second verse. Or after Gunna's first part.
It sounded like she was Scooby-Doo rapping. I don't know what the hell she was talking about. That shit's trash.
What is Scooby-Doo rapping? Like she sounded like Scooby? Like ruh-roh?
No, she was just 1, 2, 3, oopsie whoopsie, and she was just doing anything.
She was Das effects in it.
Yeah, I don't even know what she was doing. Like the shit just, I don't know. It's just not good. It's not good. Like, it's just not good.
Was it bad enough for you not to listen to the project?
I mean, I'm not really excited about a Dej Loaf project. If a single pops up and somebody suggests it, I'll listen to it. But I'm just maybe I'll probably listen to it because we do this. But other than that, nah.
Was there a time where you would have been excited about a Dej Loaf album?
Yeah.
Like the time just passed.
Oh yeah. The time passed. Listen, when I moved to Atlanta, I was excited about Dej Loaf. That was like 2014.
So interestingly enough, the first thing that she dropped, the first EP that she dropped, and see that's the thing, that came out July 2015, right? First mixtape came out 2012. This project right here, Celso 2, is actually being billed as her debut album. So all this time, Dej really didn't have an album out.
Yeah, well, can we yeah, okay.
Damn, sis. That was all the ugly. Well, no, I had one more to me that was unnecessary. Bootsy Collins got a new joint out featuring Snoop and somebody else, and it's called Jam On, and it literally sounds like exactly like I don't know. I feel like at this point, Bootsy Collins gives me new music. I want it to be something exciting, and this just sounded like exactly what I thought it would have sounded like. Now, this is apparently the second song that he's dropped in the last month. Did you know that?
I did not.
So I'm very curious about that. Like, why is Bootsy back with Snoop Dogg pushing new music? But then at the same time, we just found out yesterday that Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis are coming out with their first album.
That's dope. I'm excited for that. They're producers.
The headline I saw says as artists, but it's going to be one of those like Khaled type situations or one of those Quincy Jones type situations.
Yeah, the world needs that. We need some good music.
That's
like last week, them Stevie Wonder joints was fire. I fucked with those. So
I'm very curious as to the timing, though. Somebody said they are a self-contained versus unit. Or no, they have one? I'm sure.
No, they're just talking about
this conversation. I'm not reading this
because they're talking about catalogs. I mean, it's Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Really got to talk about that.
Yeah, but I just don't know why it was thrown into this conversation. Because they don't mention them against anybody else. But anyway, whatever. Because
that's why they said self-contained.
Like right, but like I don't know that like I didn't when I saw the headline, I was not expecting to even have a conversation about verses at all.
Listen. We know you're a versus hater.
No, I don't mean it like that. No.
I know, but I'm just saying, like you always say, I'm not the versus person, but the rest of us are.
When you heard that headline, was that the first thing that popped in your head? Like, ooh, that's the verses we need.
Yeah, no, but listen, when you like, we're having this conversation about music and people. So when somebody pops back up, honestly, now nostalgia and verses are almost hand in hand right now.
Yeah.
So that's literally what it is.
Sake, but Anyway, they dropping a new album. Look, if we don't even have, like, we didn't even get to a date about the new album because y'all threw me off the scent talking about some damn verses. Like, what? That's not what I came here for. I came here to find out about this album, and is Janet gonna be on it? Ooh, new Janet produced by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. That'd be fun. The project is going to be due in 2021, and they are signed to BMG. This is their first contract as artists. Kind of dope to look at it that way. All right, let's get into these singles. Where do we want to start, sis? The ones that you fucked with.
We can just take them in order.
Okay.
I can't look at the list right now. My computer's gonna start acting stupid. So.
Alrighty. Well, Ari Lennox partnered with Elite to release a joint called Cognac Eyes. We're trying to figure out if it's like an official song because it's not on her YouTube, and the cover is some random Black woman.
Right. Like, I was like, wait.
Some random Black woman's work picture too. Like, I think we need to be very specific that, like, this is the company profile photo.
You know what? Like, yeah, if LinkedIn happened in the 90s, like the early 90s, that would be it.
This is a picture of my badge right now.
Look, Ari Lennox needs a producer. She's like freestyling her career right now.
Okay. Do you think that's because of the pandemic, or do you think that's like a general?
No, I just think she needs to. I had this conversation the other day. I'm having a lot of music conversations lately, and I feel like her career, as it pertains to Dreamville, like Dreamville's not the musical home she needs. I think Dreamville is her home, and but I think that they need to find her, and she needs to seek out producers.
Okay.
To actually produce records for her. Okay. Because she's like a somebody writing in their journal, and then they just put music to it, which is cool, but you get a lot of like, And I think like with her style and just her voice and her energy, you need to work with people to bring that out of you. I would love to hear her with, Brian Michael Cox or somebody like that. Like going with a songwriter producer who's going to challenge you musically. I just feel like she's just out there doing whatever.
Who's going to challenge you musically and still respect who you are as an artist.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because ultimately, it's about bringing out the artist's vision, but music is not a solo effort. It's not I just got a beat. I'm going to just go in here and write some stuff to this beat, and then put it out on the internet. And even though like it just doesn't feel like she's being produced. The last joint she put out with, I was rocking with. This joint is just whatever.
All right, let's flip the IG real quick. IG folks, we love you guys. You guys are so awesome rocking with us. We're going to hop back in here and continue this chat about this music. All right, so Static Selecta, who stays busy also, him and Alchemist are always delivering new music. Actually, no, what? Since we're talking about let's talk about Ari. Let's stay with the R&B because there's plenty of good R&B to talk about. Her just dropped a new joint. It's called Damage.
Produced by my man Cardiac.
Shouts to Cardiac.
Bro.
I feel like
hers growing up.
Is that right?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
So she recorded the video for the song Damage at the Roxy Theater in LA.
Mm-hmm.
She is, I guess, performing on Saturday Night Live this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Is this also the weekend that Adele is hosting?
Yes, it is, actually. Yeah.
Huh.
Yep. Adele's hosting. She's performing. Yep. Yeah.
Very interesting. But yeah, so the song came out on Wednesday. It's called Damage, and then she dropped the video. And I'm still not seeing whether this is part of an album or not.
We'll find out.
So, like, who picks the performers on SNL? Like, does the host get a say in who's going to perform? Or is it all like a whole booking thing? I feel like I should know this.
It's a
Hire a
booking
whole
thing.
music publicist. Should probably know how this works. I just think it's really, really interesting that they would get Adele, but not have Adele also do the music.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure. So, like a lot of times when it's like a musical guest who hosts, they still end up doing music,
Mm-hmm.
and they kind of like make it part of the skits and stuff. So they do it that way. So she'll still be featured. You know, like they work everybody into the overall experience. It's like Megan having a skit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just kind of what it is. So.
All right. Well, the song was dope. The video made me realize I don't think I've ever actually like paid attention to what her looks like. But I guess that was her whole goal, wasn't it?
Yes, for us to like her voice and her music before we saw how cute she was.
Because she is pretty cute.
Mm-hmm. And she's starting to, you know, like she's coming into like her style. I mean, she's always been stylish, but I mean, you know, she's starting to do like the sexy thing, which
In a
I
way
think
that's
is dope.
authentic to who she is, though.
Exactly. It's not like forced or corny. Like it's still her, like the vibe. Like we were talking about Aaliyah and Aaliyah's style. And you can see her is definitely influenced. Like her style kind of comes from that tree, which a lot of styles do. That's what makes Aaliyah so iconic. But her definitely has her own like vibe, her own twist.
Then we had a new joint by Ty Dolla $ign called Spicy, featuring Post Malone.
Mm-hmm. Little club bop.
I enjoyed. Y'all know I'm a Ty Dolla $ign fan.
His album's coming out this week, so
excited for it. The Weeknd came out with a remix to "In Your Eyes" featuring Kenny G.
The legend.
And it really sounds like, you know, an authentic original Kenny G record.
I thought I was listening to, you know, the jazz station. I thought I was with my grandpa. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I thought I had
when that sax came out, I was like, wait, what?
It's definitely got a whole throwback feel to it. So, you
know. Oh yeah, because then the 80s vibes come in, and it's like it's got that Giorgio Moroder feel. You know what I'm saying? Like that drug dealer music.
Yeah, it was definitely like an episode of if they decide to remake Miami Vice again. Yeah, it was definitely one of those. And then Mario's back. Mario's back with a song called Pretty Mouth Magic. And I'm trying to understand why magic is spelled with a K at the end.
Let me tell you something. When I first turned that song on, I was like, what the is this? And I was like, yo, this shit jams.
It does. It sounds
like I was already
Mario was sitting wherever he was sitting at, clearly really paying attention to what was going on in the musical landscape.
You know what? I think Mario's run on Empire was really good for his career.
Okay.
I feel like
tell us about this run because I feel like I missed it.
So Mario became one of the main characters on Empire.
Oh, Empire the show. I thought we were talking about Empire the label.
No. Yeah. So sorry. Yeah, I feel like that helped him transition from like corny Mario for a lot of us. Like I respect Mario more. Huh?
Was he corny to y'all?
Yeah, he was kind of like, you know. He was always that.
Was Joe corny to you? Because Joe been singing about stealing a nigga broad since 1996.
No. Joe was edgy.
Joe been stealing a nigga broad since 96, bro.
That's why I said Joe was edgy, but Mario had like when they introduced Mario, he had like that clean cut image. I mean, even his character on Empire is like church boy that turns bad. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of like prepares you for the type of music like this song. Because literally, for a lot of folks, it's still that, you know, you should let me love you, Mario. Gotcha. This is not that. This is Mario saying, listen, you're going to get this loving. And you're going to do all that nasty stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then I'm going to do all that nasty stuff to you. I'm just like, whoa. What's going on here? I'm too young for this.
You're too young for it?
You got virgin ears, man.
That's about it.
Virgin ears.
That's all that's on there. All right. On the rap front, it wasn't super heavy this week, but as I said, well, we're gonna save the best for last.
Y'all heard that country accent? She said shit. We're gonna save the best for last.
Best for last. Y'all don't know. Sometimes I can be a real peach. Y'all ain't know that. I don't be sound like I'm from the South Side, but I can. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm talking about. Goddamn it.
On the low, I have spent the majority of my life in the South. It's pretty funny. All right. So look, King Combs, aka Christian Combs. You know, Diddy's son who looks like his spitting image and sounds like his spitting image. Get it? That was a spitting. Okay.
And acts like. Huh? And dresses like, and acts like, and dresses like, and constantly reminds you that.
Diddy 2.0.
Yeah.
Dropped a new joint called Legacy. The beat is a Wu-Tang beat. What was it? Triumph?
Yes.
And yeah, Sid said it's like the Diddy remake that nobody asked for. Like if they were remaking movies.
Every song, bro. And he's talented, man. But it's like, dog. Every song can't be the hey, I'm the new version of my dad.
So here's my question.
Like, bro, imagine if Run's Kids did that.
So here's my question. If you didn't know Diddy, how would you feel about Christian as an artist? I keep wanting to call that baby.
There's no way I could know about Diddy because Christian's telling you about Diddy. Like, literally. Like, okay,
so Drake talks about his dad in records?
Drake don't. No. That's different.
Right,
every song. Listen.
I feel like Christian is at a disadvantage because some people just do move like they did. Like you might have your father's mannerisms.
No, listen.
You might be a ball player that reminds. People are forever comparing Bronny to LeBron. People are forever comparing Shaq's sons to him.
Listen, we're not gonna do that because first of all, there's a guy named Steph Curry who's the greatest player in the world. And his dad played basketball. He was pretty good, but Steph, don't nobody even talk about Del Curry.
Did they ever?
Del Curry was a very good NBA player, like a very good.
Was he a very well-known NBA player? Because there's a lot of great.
Yeah, no. He played on an iconic Charlotte Hornets team. When the Charlotte Hornets came in, you had Alonzo Mourning, you had Muggsy Bogues, you had all those guys. Grandma Ma, Del Curry was,
Steph Curry is that young?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I don't listen.
You had his father was the sharpshooter on that team. He was a 3-point specialist. Back when 3-point specialists were a real thing. His dad was one of the best 3-point shooters of all time prior to Steph getting in the league. So Steph got it from his daddy. You know what I'm saying? But Steph is Steph. He's not out there trying to be his dad. He elevated his game. He added the athletic component to his game that his dad didn't have. His dad don't dribble like Steph and pass like Steph and do all the other stuff. He shoots threes.
He writes his own lyrics. That's how he elevated.
Listen, shout to Christian, but if you writing in your dad's style about your dad and about how, you in every song is a Bad Boy remix, so you doing something that your dad already did, like it's corny. It's at this point it's just corny, bro. Like literally, like fam. Jaden Smith don't make songs every day about being Will Smith and Jada's son. Willow don't do that shit neither. Like we know legacy kids. We've seen it all throughout musical history. He is every day out here trying to remind us, I'm on Bad Boy Records, which don't nobody give a fuck about because ain't nobody on Bad Boy Records but MGK that's selling a damn thing. And that you're Puff's son, which we know, nigga, we see you. We look at you. We hear your voice. We know. It's like New York. He's like the quintessential New Yorker, right? Versus being from Philly, right? Philadelphia people don't run around saying, yo, I'm from Philly. Nah, fam. All you got to do is hear me say Ball, John, a couple things. I, talk to, like, especially if I'm talking to another person from Philly, right? But New Yorkers, what do? Yo, I'm from the Bronx, son. Brooklyn, they walk in a building. They walk into a room, fam. They could be at a job interview. They walk into the waiting room at the doctor's office. They be like, yo, Brooklyn in the house? You know what I'm saying? It's like, dog,
Knock it off.
calm down, my guy.
People from New York don't
Calm
do that
down.
to that extreme.
Yes, they do.
Do you know how many
Yes.
times I've heard people from Detroit just start a random conversation with, because I'm from Detroit, like that really matters in any way, shape, or form?
Nah. New Yorkers,
I
the
do
New Yorkers,
like that. I don't appreciate you,
people
yo.
from New York, period. Wait, I can't wait till you get in Clubhouse, bro, because they got New York rooms. We cut New York up because of this behavior. You know, we had a whole New York discussion, and you know what it was? It was more New Yorkers arguing with New Yorkers than anybody. The rest of us just sitting back laughing because they're obnoxious. Absolutely. And there's a reason why, because there's so many people and it's so competitive. Like, I get that part. Like, I understand why, but it's still annoying to the rest of us. And this is what Christian Combs is. He's annoying. And that's not to say he's not talented. I think he's tremendously talented. But fam, another video where you're playing your dad, another one? Like, damn, bro, you just did a whole project where everything was your dad. Like, who are you? Who are you? Fam, we know you're rich. We know you got money. We know you spend your money.
Be careful with your body, put that on ice. I'm not gonna tweet. I'm not gonna
You gonna get us cut. You gonna get us cut.
I didn't want to play that.
Oh, Mike, you make sure you cut that part out.
Please.
You know, the content ID guys is gonna come after us.
It wasn't 10 seconds though, but no, nobody wanted to actually play that on purpose.
So
okay, so
wait.
no country for Justin. Can he like, I mean, for Christian?
Right, because Justin's the one we knew.
Justin's like, whoa, leave me out of this. I'm over here playing ball, fam. Like,
Justin is the one we know. Christian's the one that wants us to know him. Justin got a restaurant named after him.
Middle kid syndrome. What did Christian get? Christian got something. I guess not.
Listen, like I said, Christian is talented. He's a charismatic young brother. Like, I want to see him do well. I think he's super talented. I think he could take the things that he got from his dad and turn them into his own empire. But not by being your dad every other day. Like, we don't need you. Like, it's like dressing up as your parent for Halloween. You know what I'm saying? It's like literally like, fam, you don't need to dress up as your dad. You're already him. Just go out there and be you. And that's it. We'll get it. You don't got to put a bad boy jacket on. You know what I'm saying? Like, in every video. Like, you don't have to do it.
It's called Legacy, though.
Of course it's called Legacy. Because that's all he got. It's like, fam, what else?
No, but I get what you're saying. I think that he's been out here long enough that, like, he should have been done cosplaying his dad and he should have figured out who he is by now.
Exactly.
And there's a way for you to do that and still, you know, pay homage and, you know, I mean, but like you said, the other thing is the fact that, like, your dad is who he is. Like, we don't need you paying homage. Like, we know. And we respect. And we recognize. I can't wait till Sir Carter starts rapping. All right. Speaking of artists who can't quite seem to figure out where to go, DaniLeigh dropped a new joint called Monique.
I like the song.
I do too.
I mean, I think DaniLeigh's talented. She's got a great voice. She's really good at what she does. I don't have any complaints with the song at all. I would tell people to go listen to it. It's fun. I think, it's easy for somebody like DaniLeigh to get caught up, but she's got an audience. She could drop music, and it's enjoyable. So let's enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
What you mean?
Like in that sound, the trap sound, and everybody kind of, doing the same lane or whatever. Okay. Or just in a conversation of female artists. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got a Bia, and you got all these, you got DaniLeigh, you got all these other artists, and they doing like the trap singing thing. And it's like, it's cool. I like it. It's just the fans might get, like a little confused. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I mean, even with male rappers, we was talking about Buddy and, all these other folks doing like the singy raps with West Side Boogie and all that. Mm-hmm. This song is good as a single. Okay. I'm waiting for her to differentiate herself though.
From the fray.
Yeah, because I think there's something that's dope and special about her. Mm-hmm. I just really haven't seen it yet. So if y'all, because some people listen to music and they looking for something to hold on to, you know, and like go listen to it because it's a good song to listen to.
Okay. All right. Static Selector dropped the joint called Keep It Moving featuring Gary Clark Jr., Nas, and Joey Badass. And Nas is alert. Nas is out here.
Yeah, and
Nas
this is
being the
his
cool
groove.
uncle that's going with y'all to the club and like not embarrassing
Right.
right now.
Well, this is his groove. I mean, the track is complimentary to him, you know, and Joey. Like I enjoyed this.
I did too. Nas also just dropped the video for Replace Me, the joint with him and Big Sean and Don Toliver from his album. It was a cute little concept. The video is his ex or current girlfriend going through a photo album. And so as she's going through the album, like she'll look at a photo and like he's rapping through the actual photos. It looked very much like the 90s, early 2000s. What's that face?
I just read Double A's comment about King Combs and Sakeem Wow. Like that's funny for a lot of reasons. It's funny because it's true, and it's also funny because I know Brashear. And that's funny too.
Oh man. All right. Well, one of my local favorites went and tapped my forever favorite. Like somebody gotta make me meet Guap Dad, bro. I want to meet Guap Dad.
Yeah. I do too. I feel like I am. I mean, I haven't been outside, but you know, Guap just recorded. He flew to New York. I didn't know why he was like I saw the whole picture, like, yeah, I just landed in New York. Then I saw him at Illmind's crib. And so I think the dope part about Guap Dad is he's very much Asian as he is black.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see like his culture in him. Mm-hmm. And him and Illmind both being Filipino and understanding their culture, they just looked really comfortable. Mm-hmm. I can only imagine they had some really great conversations about family and life and shit like that. But Guap Dad is such a nigga too. Like he is one of the most niggerish niggas on top of that. You know, so shout to cultural combinations. But, you know, this is going to be a really good project. I mean, he previewed a little bit of it. Illmind, who's painting some sonic landscapes, and Guap Dad having a good time and floating on that shit.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that. Like,
that's gonna be really dope.
That. You know, this is the Guap Dad fan club over here. If y'all didn't know,
if y'all did not realize,
Shine Block Podcast, aka the Guap Dad fan club.
Guap Dad fan club, aka Bring Street Prop back.
Absolutely.
Random range, like we love
from here to here. Like
Bring Street Property back. Guap Dad jumped on a joint called Deja Vu featuring Deontay Hitchcock, and I love it because they're pushing each other, like not pushing each other, but it's like listening to them sparring, like it's like a friend. Sparring session.
You know, I think that that Dreamville situation was probably Guap Dad is the winner from that for me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he went into that and he knew he had some shit to prove as an artist and as a lyricist, and you know, with the bars and everything. Like, you know, the reason why I'm so impressed with the kid is he respects the art. Yes. And you could tell in his work ethic and the music that he put out. So I literally, like, you can hear it. And then on this track, you know Deontay Hitchcock is a spitter. You know what he's coming with. And Guap Dad matched the energy and was coming with the same type of intensity. And that's what you want to hear. And he got that little swag with him. You know what I'm saying? He got that little pimp shit with him, the little scammer shit with him, you know, that the kids gonna love. So he's a very well-rounded artist. And, you know, it's kind of how I felt about Corday. Like, a lot of people was looking at the other people in his crew, you know, because they was flashy. But I think this kid is building himself slowly, and he's fucking with the right people. Like, going to make an album with Illmind, that's something that, like, the label's not going to send you to do that.
Right.
The label, ain't no A&R is going to be like, yo, you need to go make an album with Illmind.
If you know Illmind, you know that Illmind also would not do no shit like that because the label said it. Like, he's doing it because it's something
because he rock with him. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's natural. That's a respect thing. You know what I'm saying? So for artists to be that young in the game and to understand how to move, I think I'm going to New York to do an album with Illmind. You know, I'm going to Texas to do an album with this person and that. Like those are the cats when they make the moves. Like and Corday did a lot of that. He was going to go busting a lot of moves just off of, you know, the respect. And you know that those are the ones who are going to last. So I expect Guap Dad to be around for a while.
So Deontay dropped that off with another joint called "Text Me" featuring Ro James, who I also love. And like you just said about Guap Dad, like I feel like Deontay Hitchcock is kind of doing that same thing. Like he's been out here slowly building it up for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yep, just dropping quality stuff, like, you know, letting people catch up onto him, you know. But when you see creatives getting in spaces with other dope creatives, like this is another example of a really good feature choice. You know what I'm saying? Like you got two people who are really good at their art and they get together and you do a jam. But behind the scenes, it shows that you understand your art, you understand your craft, and you know who to work with and how to move. You know what I mean? And that's what more artists need to figure out. Like, it's a lot of people out here trying to do shit by themselves, and they're like, oh, I'm with this side. But the cats that move around and the ones that really, like, be all over the place in the back, you know, making songs and working with other people, like, yo, who knew Pop Smoke and Quavo was, like, best friends? Right. You know what I'm saying? But that's the respect that, you know, you might be like, man, you know, LeBron versus Kobe or LeBron versus Jordan, man, they somewhere laughing and you know, they was somewhere laughing and having a drink together. You know what I mean? Like it was because it was a respect, you know, beyond the competitiveness.
Like when you see how Shaq's kids talk about Kobe and you realize that all this time that y'all were so busy hyping up this rivalry that these niggas was really family.
Right. Like, you know, things happen and we take it further than the actual thing. You know what I'm saying? And in real life, you know, behind the scenes, the music world is one big fam. So if you know how to move and navigate in that family, then it shows me that you understand how to actually stay around in this game.
Yep. All right, let's talk about some of these albums right quick that are coming out this week. Do we have the calendar for this week? So we talked about Dej, we talked about Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam. According to TDE's Punch, Kendrick Lamar's next album is right around the corner. Didn't Punch just say that Kendrick wasn't dropping no more albums because you niggas are ungrateful?
Oh, I'm about to go on Clubhouse ask Punch right now because he always on there. That's not yeah.
What do you? I want to know what that question sounds like because in my head it sounds like you standing up and being like, "Hi, my name is Shay and I'm from New Rochelle."
New Rochelle.
Listen. Kendrick wasn't making no more albums for us ungrateful motherfuckers. Now you talk about he got an album coming out. Which one is it, Punch?
The wild thing is on Clubhouse, people is just straight coming at people next. Like, look, dog, what's up with this? And it's straight, no holds barred. You know what I mean? People are being respectful, but most people are. But you know, you asking the questions that you want to know. And I'm pretty sure he's been asked that question. We had a Kendrick conversation. We had a whole West Side debate, you know, about Kendrick. And like the first conversation I really, really, really tapped into on there was the East Coast, West Coast conversation. It was Bad Boy versus Death Row. And that evolved into, you know, Dre versus, you know, Puff and the East Coast and this, that, and the third. So we started talking about all the rappers on both coasts. And obviously Kendrick was in that conversation and Punch was in there. And it's funny because somebody would be in there having a spicy take about Kendrick. And then here come Punch, like, what'd you say? You know what I mean? Like, so that's another reason why I love it.
Punch has entered the chat. Okay, but I just pulled up this website and what I saw while I'm looking for these release dates and shit. 2 Chainz plans to release a full album produced by Kanye West. So out of all the things that he didn't get out of his good music experience, that's the thing that 2 Chainz feels like he needs? A Yeezy produced album in 2020?
I mean, maybe it's a collection of things that have happened, you know, over the years. I'm here for a Yeezy produced.
I was so disappointed by those 5 albums, though.
We talking about I was upset with Tiana's because it was too short.
Okay.
And I really liked that one. And I feel like she forced too many songs on this one to compensate for not having all the songs that she wanted on the last one. Because she's got a really good album, but it's bloated. Also, I enjoyed Daytona. So for me, 2 out of 5 were good.
I'll even venture to say that I might have felt differently about the releases if it hadn't been hyped up the way that it was. Like the whole release fumble with Nas, I think took steam out of that project too.
No, that's that problem. That project is not good. Yeah, that project's not good. So, plus a lot of, especially a lot of Tiana stuff was co-produced or produced by other people. Kanye, obviously, overseeing the whole project. I'm okay. Like Kanye is still a great music maker. I don't want to disrespect Kanye's music acumen. If he's locked in and dialed in, he can produce some incredible shit. So, and I believe in 2 Chainz's ability to know the difference. 2 Chainz is not a child. He's not a young artist. He's a seasoned veteran who's been doing things his way. His relationship with good music he's been allowed to take advantage of it when he needed to, and dip in and do things, but it has not stopped him in any way. There's been no negative blowback. What Kanye West got going on has not blown back on 2 Chainz in any way. It's not blown back on Big Sean in any way. You know what I'm saying? They don't even take it personally. It's blown back on other people. It's, it's affected other people. It's affected Pusha T. It's affected Sci-Hi, and one, because Sci-Hi chooses to speak up in a public forum, and, Kate Forrest Boss. You know what I'm saying? Which is, if you're getting paid and that's your guy, if that's your friend or whatever is personal to you, and that's what you're gonna do. But I'm here for it because I trust 2 Chainz.
Okay, that's fair. Well, this new project that 2 Chainz is supposed to be dropping called So Help Me God is supposed to come out next week and be executive produced by Easy. So, but this week, what we've got is Ty Dolla $ign, as you mentioned earlier. And he's gone and got a whole bunch of people on his project, including Kanye West. But also, I don't know why this link has not opened yet. My apologies. Open. Also, Future, Post Malone, the joint that we just talked about, Roddy Ricch, and is the track list out?
It's a new Roddy Ricch album?
No. I'm talking about people who are featured on the Ty Dolla $ign album.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I think the track, I'm pretty sure the track list is out.
Burna Boy, Lil Durk, Quavo, Jhené Aiko, Kalani, and Young Thug.
Yeah.
Ty Dolla $ign and Burna Boy, just give me that. I'll be somewhere in a corner for the rest of it.
Here's my thing. Okay, because when Ty Dolla $ign put out that album years ago, I was really disappointed.
Which album?
The one where it was like he was the feature or some shit. It sounded like it was a bunch of throwaway joints. And I think he ended up saying, like, this was some throwaway joints.
Well, you're not going to like this one either, because apparently I think this is the same thing. It's called Featuring Ty Dolla $ign is the name of the album.
That is the name. But from what I've heard, and this is what I was saying, from what I've heard, it sounds like he's the lead artist, and these are not like concepts and ideas. And hey, this was a scratch hook, and I'm going to put it on an album. That's kind of what this last one sounded like.
Okay.
I just don't want to hear Ty Dolla $ign not being the lead. I want to hear Ty Dolla $ign being in pole position, on these records. I don't want him like taking a back seat to other people. Like first of all, I love My Ty. I enjoy My Ty a lot. Him and Jeremiah's collaboration, and it felt like it was equally Ty's as it was Jeremiah's, and I like that. So I hope that he doesn't defer. If he doesn't defer, then I think this would be a really dope project.
Okay. Well, it looks like almost everything has features on it. Almost everything. It's not all of them. But Kid Cudi, Thundercat, Nicki Minaj. Mustard's on a couple joints. Thug and Future on one joint. Shouts to Tish Hyman and Music Soul Child. Jumping on a track with Black and Ty Dolla $ign. A lot of singing ass niggas on that song. Xavier Omar is also dropping tomorrow, as well as dropping the Amanda tape. and Tech Nine dropping an EP. Because Tech Nine just drops music. He doesn't give a fuck if you mainstream niggas are paying attention or not, because he's always going to do his numbers.
Absolutely. You know his fan base.
SZA's favorite New England rapper is also dropping an EP. He has a new single out called Snitch.
I'm Jamaican, so I call him Lucas Joyner.
He's asking for Bobby Shmurda's release. Because
Really?
God forbid that nigga just drop a song that be dope without it being some kind of a gimmicky aspect to it. And Dave East is dropping the deluxe version of something that you probably didn't know came out called Karma 3. Did you know that Karma 3 was a thing?
No, you know, I don't work third shift in Amazon, so I think it was funny. Once again, another conversation. I found out that I'm not the only person who think David's career has peaked and gone as a rapper.
That's it. It's done. Go be an actor.
I don't think it's not done. I mean, you know, he's still gonna put things out. I mean, I just don't know what at this point we expect from him. You know, if you like Dave East, you like him. It's crazy.
On TV.
It's crazy because, you know, I watched the evolution of a lot of artists like J. Cole, for example. You know, from Mixtape Cole, you know, Friday Night Lights and all that stuff. And you know, I put him in a certain box personally. I was like, okay, he can rap. You know, he's an incredible rapper. But he don't have like that song that's gonna make me be like, yo, I gotta listen to J. Cole. And he came out with the record with the Aaliyah sample, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like this dude could make some joints here. You know what I'm saying?
Which one is the one with the Aaliyah sample?
What was that? Hold on, I have to look it up. It was his first big single on Rock Nation. Let me see. But yeah, so that
when you
really
say it, I'll probably be like, okay.
Yeah, but that was really the one that really, really, really did for it. This is No Role Models. Yeah.
That had an Aaliyah sample?
Yeah, I believe so.
I
can't play it.
But
I don't want to play it in the middle one, but his first major single, I believe, was that. Yeah, so yeah, we don't want to play music on the podcast.
J. Cole playlist of probably about 10 songs, 10 J. I don't even think it's 10. I'm gonna try and see how many songs. If I make a playlist of J. Cole songs that I actually really like, how many I end up with.
I mean, but still, there was a point where people realized like J. Cole had palatable music that could be radio friendly and stuff like that. Like we realized, like, okay.
Oh yeah, it was Forest Drive.
Yeah,
I remember literally listening to the album, and when I was done, I was like, okay, Jermaine. Like I think I actually even tweeted it. I was like, all right.
But what I would say is even before that, there was a period where he went from mixtape rapper to okay, even with the label, like, all right, cool, we're willing to invest in a whole project of you.
Gotcha. I see what you're saying.
And that wasn't
so to actually make songs as opposed to just being a guy who raps good.
No, I'm sorry. It wasn't Aaliyah. It's Missy Elliott. My bad. I said it's weird because it's Nobody's Perfect. So when Nobody's Perfect came out,
okay.
That's when I was like, okay, yeah. Because he needed a record. Like you need that record to go from mixtape rapper to like, oh, okay, I can put out an album, right? So the label is always searching for that single. So when Nobody's Perfect came out, it was like, oh. But he was killing the mixtape scene before that.
Yeah.
So if you were a J. Cole fan, I just wasn't a J. Cole fan. I knew he could rap though. Like I was like, oh, okay, this kid is solid. Like he could rap. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't like compelling. Like his stories and whatever he was talking about wasn't compelling to me. You know what I'm saying? So, But when I heard that record, I was like, oh yeah, dude's got an ability. When you come out and you make a major label album, they got your singles lined up. I just haven't ever seen that growth from Dave East to this day. Like, and I think they tried it, but to this day, can't nobody tell me what's Dave East's hit song. And he's been out here for a long time now.
Yeah. What's the
You
song
not
that
new.
made you pay attention to him? You want me to tell you what made me pay attention to Davies?
Not a song.
What was that rap? Huh?
Not a song.
No, it definitely wasn't a song. It was damn, there was a special, there was the docu-series on Netflix about hip hop. Not Hip Hop Evolution, there was another one that was rap show Netflix. What was it called? Why am I blanking on this shit? Rapture.
Oh, that's what made you pay attention to him?
Yeah. Because there was a whole episode about him and Nas. Well, really, it was about him, but it was the parallel of their careers and their lives. And I think maybe that might be what it is for people who are fans of Davies, that they know like his actual story. And so they're invested in him as a person.
I don't think Davies has actual fans. And we know Davies' story, you know, we know the Nas thing, like, but even before the Nas thing, man, like my knowing Davies comes from Buddha and Grands.
From where?
From Buddha and Grands, from his producers.
Okay.
From Wayno, from the Triangle Offense before he was with Nas, like the people who helped develop him and get him to where he was. The same people that, you know, worked with Fred the Godson. Like the Nas thing came after. Like that's not his real
the
story.
freshman cover, right?
Yeah, like that's not his. Yeah, that's not like.
To put it in perspective, Davies was on the 2012 freshman cover with Lil Dicky, Lil Uzi Vert, Anderson .Paak, 21 Savage.
No, that wasn't 2012.
Black.
Anderson was 2016.
Oh, then they were all on the same cover.
Yeah, that was 2016.
So okay,
because we did the beats for those.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm one of those people. Have you seen that meme where they're like 40 years ago and the person's like, so 1960, and they're like, no, 1980?
Yeah, like I specifically remember that year because we did all the beats for the ciphers.
When you tell me 2020, like when you tell me 20 years ago, I'm not thinking 2000 in my head. That math doesn't work right yet. But anyway, the point was that on that cover, there's a bunch of different styles and a bunch of different people who have blown up in different ways for different reasons. And like you said, Davies is the one. Even if I can't tell you a whole, like I try to ignore Kodak Black for cultural reasons, but I could still name you 2 Kodak Black songs.
Oh, absolutely. You can sing Kodak Black songs. I don't even mess with Kodak Black songs, but I can sing a whole Kodak Black song.
Right.
Because he got joints. He got songs that became hits. He got hits. You know what I'm saying? Like
Davies, a male model. Anyway, you guys, this is have we come up with a name yet?
No.
Wait, he should have. That's what he needs to be. Go be a sex symbol. Rap needs a sex symbol right about now.
But he needs. Okay, so he did a song with Chris Brown, and I just knew. I was like, all right, this is gonna be the one. Then I listened to it, and I was like, how do you fumble? How do you fumble that feature?
Oh man,
completely fumbled that feature.
What was that even called?
His last project, he had a gang of decent looking. It sounded like, you know, like don't get us wrong. We go into this thinking that Davies is gonna crack the code this time, and every time it's just not it.
You talk about Perfect featuring Chris Brown?
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what numbers that shit did. Okay, but look, do we have a name for this yet? Have you thought of something?
No.
The extended edition. Extra time. Overtime. In your ears. The chop block boombox.
I mean, that's not terrible, but I don't know if I love it. Can we just get
anyway? We'll figure this out, y'all. If y'all give us some suggestions. If you right now, it'll be just called the remix.
So is that everything that we're looking forward to that's coming out?
Now that's pretty much it this week, I think.
Did I see Pearl Jam came out?
Did you see Pearl Jam? Nelly
I
Furtado.
What?
Oh, it's re-releasing Whoa Nelly.
I was about to say another person Timberland ruined.
Oh man.
Timberland got a body
Kiana
count.
Lede is dropping the deluxe.
I was hoping it was something new, but I'll check it out.
Bruce Springsteen is dropping a new project.
Mm.
Oh, that wasn't the one that you were looking for?
I didn't know. That's interesting. Uncle Bruce. Uncle Bruce.
Major Lazer dropping a new joint called "Music Is a Weapon."
Mm. Did you get a chance? Did you get a chance to listen to Libra?
I did. We talked about Libra last week.
Okay.
Yeah, I had already listened to most of it. I don't know that I think. Ooh, let me tell you where I stopped. I had to hop off the bus with that interlude. Hold on a second.
With the lady? Is that the lady that worked at the trap? Is that the lady that worked at the trap museum?
Which one?
The one that greets you when you first walk in the door.
No. That's not what I'm talking about.
No, I was just asking if the skits, if that was the same lady.
No, that's not who that was. So that was an older lady who is like Instagram famous, and like she like a for real like be in the streets like trapper, like, and she's somebody's grandmama. Miss Pat, I think it's her name. Yeah, Miss Pat is like an Instagram like celebrity. Cause she just be on there talking all the shit that like all your favorite rappers talk. And being very clear about the fact that she's not just talking it, she's lived it. There's an interlude on there called is it Fire and Earth? That basically sounded like, with Ernestine Johnson Morrison. And it was a lot of respectability politics. Like there was a dig at WAP, and that ladies need to be, anytime you tell me what women need to be, I'm disinterested.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
Now that was pretty deep into the project. It's like the 14th track.
I had a homie, one of my boys, shout out to my boy B Kane, my dude back from Philly. And, we playing Call of Duty, we just have regular conversations, so we talking about music. And he was like, yo, sis, guess what the best album was that came out last week? Now, we got Black Thought, we got Benny the Butcher, and I'm not expecting him to say T.I.
Mm-hmm.
But he said T.I. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a good album though.
It is.
It's a good album. Like I have no, like other than like I said, technically Tip didn't write it. I mean, obviously I'm sure he had veto powers over it or whatever. Also, Clifford is who Clifford is. Like it's not any different than, any of the other wild shit that he said in the last 18 months that people considered wild because they're not taking it in the context of an 80s baby born in the South.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on now. But now I don't see anything else this week. Next week's got a couple of heaters on it. Ariana Grande just randomly announced that she was dropping a project next week and dropping the first single for that tonight. Who else? They're saying that this 2 Chainz album comes out next week. Sam Smith, Queen Naija. So yeah. Stuff to listen to. We're still trying to figure out how we're going to get back to actually reviewing music like in full.
Turn up. All right.
We're gonna figure it out. Anyway, you guys, we appreciate you rocking with us for this extended portion of the episode. Of course, the Chopping Block podcast is the audio iteration of what happens on freemusiccredits.com, where we talk about new releases. You'll find the most comprehensive listing of album credits on these interwebs.
I am so bugging.
What?
So, because I helped produce an album that's coming out on Friday. I actually got my first producer credit.
Talk your shit.
So, I brought her up before. She's a friend of the show and one of my clients, Asia Kyrie, a R&B artist out of Dallas, and her EP, The Bad Guy, comes out this Friday through my distribution platform, Gangery Records distribution. It's a lot of Bounce Gang members on here. A lot of Dallas, dope Dallas producers. She has some really, really, really fire songs on this EP. So we're excited. It's once again, the artist is Asia Kyrie, Kyree, and the project is called Bad Guy, and this shit's gonna be pretty bananas. So make sure y'all tune in, check that out on all the major platforms.
Stream it early and often.
Yep, and go to bouncegang.com and find out more.
And is the gang and bouncegang.com an A? Like, is the A in gang an A, or is it a V?
So it's a V, but we literally, we had a call yesterday and we all thought about it. And we're like, you know what? We're just gonna buy both domains. So
Yeah.
go to bouncegang.com, spell it however you feel like, or Google it and you'll see. Yeah, if you Google Bounce Gang, we come up anyway. So.
There you go. There you go, guys. All right. Well, we'll be back next week with more life talk, music talk, and thoughts about music. Wash your hands, cover your mouth, be safe.
Y'all be safe, man.
Go vote.
Please vote.